Okay, wait, we get the trailer. No, we don't need that. So how do I actually find, how do I see where I'm live? Oh, goodness. Good evening and welcome. Go this web and apparently I've got some sort of web. Hey, DSDS WAF. There we go, let's go live to this. I gotta make sure that I have the chat up and running so I can see what's going on. That's my main jam. And I get sneezed. Goodness. Good lordy, what a sneezy. Okay, so yes, we've been building the amazing Lego Space Shuttle Discovery. It's the Discovery because it comes with a Lego Hubble Space Telescope. And I've spent 6 hours on this roughly. I have 6 bags left to go and I've got them all out here. And we have a fairly large part of the fuselage already in place. It has the working, some of the mechanics are all working inside this for the ailerons and the landing gear deployment. So we're just gonna get ourselves set up. Oh, and I should probably make sure that I don't knock things over. Now I gotta find, yeah, here we go. Wow, I'm more than halfway through the book now, isn't it? The Grabble is back, get the super chat. By the way, today, this looks like muddy water, but it's actually called Fruitvale Grind. It is a beer with coffee in it. Because it turns out that Fruitvale Ale House, which is sort of one of my favourite places to get random beers, is next to a coffee place that, you know, grinds its own coffee, a roastery, so to speak. Wow, so much. Jesus, Scott, it's almost 5 a.m. You know what? For me, it's almost 9 o'clock. So I'm starting, I gotta get this finished because tomorrow is of course a big day, right? May the 4th be with you. And I'm hearing there may be a flight of Starship. 5 a.m. Lego, not Legos. Lego is a corruption of the correct term, right? So I'm gonna get this off its stand, that's one thing. We don't wanna build it on its stand. The landing gear is deployed. There we go. The landing gear actually works pretty well. Let's turn this around. Okay, so we've got to get some. Hoping that I drink the beer a little faster this time. I was super slow last time. So we got 1-in-1 studs going on here. And this is some maybe I put the instructions there, you can just about see it. Watching Scott build a Lego shuttle. What? Okay. So, oh, that's interesting. That's not quite there, but that'll hold it in place. So this now strengthens that particular joint. Any space discussion podcast you like. You know what? As I said, I don't tend to listen to any specific podcast at any random time. Sometimes I honestly tend to watch just YouTube, and the thing that I've been doing while, if I'm busy and doing other things and I just want to put on something on in the background and learn something, I've honestly been listening to YouTube videos about naval history by Drachinifel. And it's quite enjoyable. Not that I know very much about naval history, although, you know what? Obviously a lot of astronauts have a naval background. Indeed, it's just been revealed that the 4th crew member on Crew 3, that's the next mission going up on SpaceX's Dragon capsule, will be Kayla Barron, and she was a submariner. She worked in the US Navy submarine warfare group. And so, like, she's a millennial. It's gonna be like 33, maybe 34, I don't know. Like, she's young, and very cool to actually see that going up. Josh Nolan saying, hello, I'm a big fan of yours. Your ears, my ears? My ears work very well, surprisingly enough. My wife will tell you that I'm quite good at hearing things that I shouldn't. Like, I'll hear things halfway across the house. When hop, possibly tomorrow. But did you know that when hop is actually an acronym for New Hop, which is a bit like New Hope, and it is Star Wars Day tomorrow. So there, consider that. I'm on the west coast of the USA. That is indeed the place where we have good beer, good people, good music, lots of history, and Lego that doesn't want to go in place. Apparently the line for this Lego store on Saturday was like out the door, down the hall, all the way around. Oh, this is an interesting one. So this goes through like this, okay. Oh, well, this is already something in this. Oh, this is going to be the mounting for the robotic arm. It's May the 4th in 2 minutes here. Well. Okay, so I think this is where this gets mounted. Are you still playing Elite Dangerous? I am. I'm playing it a lot more right now, but the thing is, I've never been like, I've not been so hardcore about it recently. I just sort of enjoy jumping into Elite Dangerous, flying around, shooting things, just enjoying the environment. And, you know, the thing about Elite Dangerous is it's just this sort of place you can do things for a while, and it's not always the best gameplay, let me tell you that. But there's so much about Elite Dangerous that is really good. What do I think of Spaceship 3? It's beautiful. Would you fly it? I would like to see some test flights first, but I actually really like I really like Virgin Galactic's looks, just because I'm a sucker for space planes. But I have pointed out that I think from a regular crew service point of view that probably New Shepard might offer a better experience and more safety, features and everything. Okay, so where do these go? I gotta have 6 of these. I'm trying to fill in the gap. Oh, I see what goes on here. Thoughts on Among Us? Among Us? I actually should probably play it a little more. I'm delighted that Among Us came out of nowhere and became this thing, or rather, it came out of somewhere, as in obscurity, and became this monster thing that was referenced by memes to the extent that I made a spacesuit helmet for Sky so that she could dress up as one of the characters for Halloween. Not that we actually went out at Halloween, but it was pretty neat that was an option. And I cannot see the piece that I am looking for. Where do you go? Where do you go? There you are. Little piece of mine. Are you a fan of flight simulators? I sort of am. I quite enjoy mucking around in them. I'd really like to spend some time in a real flight simulator. But I think I like Kerbal a lot because a big part of it isn't the flying. A lot of it is just building something and then figuring out why it isn't flying well. Right, there's a real joy to having something break and then try to have to solve your problems in flight, or like figure out how to deal with Dutch roll and things like that. It's 4 p.m. on May the 4th. Wow, you're in New Zealand. Psycho, thank you very much for your application. Love to go to New Zealand sometime. I really would. I mean, I want to go to Australia, but New Zealand, I don't know, something about it. I think I'm a really big fan of Flight of the Conchords. Do I play War Thunder? I played it once or twice with fans, but that was it. I'm not really a fan of online pew pew games unless I really like EVE Online. And that is because EVE gets one thing right. EVE understands that logistics are the most important things about fighting wars. And you don't have logistics in any of these arena type shooters, right? It's very nice that we have these nicely rendered planes, not space planes. But, every victory seems hollow. What do you think about nitrous oxide as ABS, plastic as a fuel? It's Lego and laughing gas. I actually suggested, it was the hydraulic press channel. They were doing experiments with rockets, and I said, guys, acrylic in Lego could actually be a rocket fuel. So you could make a Lego rocket. And I don't know, I figured that it'd be kind of cool to actually try that for real, to see if you could build a working Lego rocket using nothing but Lego and maybe some gas things. Yeah, most people don't have the attention span, and also it's not just the attention span, but the self-loathing and hate. EVE Online is a very special game because it attracted a very special kind of player, and it became this unique world, and I don't think anything else will ever be like it because it requires a sort of certain level of self-hate. Does that make sense? Oh, my nose is a little sniffly. Am I still playing EVE? No, I mean, I've won EVE, right? I'm sitting on some of the most money possible to have, basically. Ridiculous amounts of cash. Now, what's going on here? Oh, that goes on there. So, I see. We get these, and then I gotta put a pair of these pins in. Okay. Is it worth getting aerospace concentration with Mech E, or is it good Mech E? I think if you really want to get into space, it's very, like, aerospace is a useful thing, but it's less about aerodynamics, except when it's about aerodynamics. I think what really matters is just doing stuff. Like, I know my neighbor's daughter, apparently, she was just really good at the thermodynamics side of engineering, and that, like, got her into, like, rockets. And so she's working at Blue Origin now, which is really kind of cool. There's a lot of different things. My birthday is tomorrow. Can you send me what? Can you actually learn about shuttle mechanics, construction, building the Lego one? Sorry. I mean, you can learn a little about the geometry, but it is a pretty abstract thing. Like I wouldn't say that it's a good representation because, like, the shuttle deck is very different from what we see in this model, right? Sorry, there was somebody asking about what percentage do you think? I think 75% the SN15 will land. 100% that it'll be fun to watch. You're curious about expander cycle engines. I did a whole video about expander cycle engines. You should probably look it up. I don't know the actual URL, but I did do a video about expander cycle because I thought they're kind of fascinating too. Expander cycle, for those people that aren't paying attention to the rocket science side of things, they are where you drive the turbopumps by expanding your hydrogen into a gas, basically boiling it, converting it to vapor. And it's what the RL10 engine uses, and it happens to be actually an incredibly efficient way of doing things. Oh, look, that fits right on there. Man! You're driving to South Padre. Hope they launch it tomorrow. I hope they have good weather. How do you think Starship will handle in-orbit refueling? It will handle it in an innovative fashion. Did you know? Look, the book has something cool in it. The mid-deck of the orbiter is where much of the cruise equipment is stored. It's here the astronauts change into their spacesuits before exiting the airlock and floating into the payload bay. And that is why we just added the airlock. So the flight deck here is not correct because this thing here I've just added is basically where the airlock is supposed to be. So this flight deck is not really correct. Pardon me. So I guess this goes like this. What? That seems not ideal, but okay, I guess it's going to be held in place. You have a tissue right here. I know I'm sniffling. I don't know what's going on with the sniffles. Sometimes you start and you start sniffling. It has been really windy, so I'm not sure what's going on. During the Apollo landing, Aldrin was making call-outs. So Buzmus, he was calling out the altitude and the H delta, right? The H bar, the speed at which they are moving downwards. So he's basically saying, like, when he says 3.5 down, that is how fast the vehicle is descending in feet per second. because Neil was eyeballing it, and Buzz wanted to. Okay, yes, and Buzz was basically feeding him the information, so he didn't have to read the instruments. See, he was looking out the window. No heads-up display or anything on this. Okay, so now we're going to start on this. One of the problems with the Apollo 11 is there wasn't necessarily dedicated instruments for all the stuff they needed to have dedicated instruments for. So they would have the computer displaying things, and it meant that it wasn't something that they could easily look at. So Buzz would be reading that off while Neil was actually doing the flying. Okay. Oh wait. So Jim's video is saying, thanks for all the work you put into the videos. Thanks for thanking me. I really appreciate it. I've got some more videos working that I gotta do, but I want to finish this. Can you explain the Long March 5B situation? Yeah, so the Long March 5B basically is in orbit, and basically the rocket has a large core stage and 4 strap-on boosters, and that launched the space station, and the core stage is about 20 tons probably, and it's in space, and it's going to fall back in an uncontrolled orbit probably in about maybe 1 to 2 weeks, right? And yeah, so this is an uncontrolled re-entry of a 20-ton rocket. Now, they previously flew this for a test, and the thing broke up over the Atlantic. Like, if it had fallen a few minutes earlier, it would be breaking up over the US. So yeah, this is not a way to be a good citizen in space, to have this level of hardware just floating around and not deorbiting. US deorbits all its boosters, or it carefully organizes its trajectories to make sure that nothing is left up there, but this hasn't happened. Now, there was some tweet or something that suggested that now the deorbit burn happens, but clearly that didn't happen. It's not clear whether that was just BS or whether they actually planned to do it and then they failed. Either way, I don't think they should be flying the Long March 5B until they figure out how to safely deorbit the stage in a controlled fashion. One thing that did appear to happen was after separation of the Tianhe core module, it appeared to rotate up the booster stage. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah, if you want to know about For All Mankind, I did actually post a video yesterday about duct tape spacesuits. I thought the season had its ups and downs. I thought it had a pointless. I thought there was some stuff that I was just like, I don't need that plot. On the other hand, I think it's the way the series works is it has to keep on introducing new characters that will be in space in the next generation. I think anybody that was here as a teenager is probably going to be in space, in the next season. And obviously, like Molly, she's had her time and has to move on. There's also the problem that they pushed the time forward by 10 years, so like the actors are staying the same age. Like, Ed and his wife, they're supposed to be in their 50s by this point, right? If you consider how old they had to be when in the first season, like based on having kids and landing on the moon and stuff. I don't know if we saw exact birth dates. So anyway, I don't know what's going to happen. And then obviously we've introduced some young-ish astronauts who will be the older astronauts next season. We've got Sally Ride, who knows how to use a gun. I'd like to see her actually, actually kicking butt sometime, because it was clear that it was sort of one of my favorite moments in that series was where, you know, the guns are on the table and she pulls out and like basically demonstrates she knows her way around a gun, because guess what? She was an Air Force officer, right? She was no slouch. Okay. Luke Foster, with their rapid iterations, do you think NASA feared if they didn't go with SpaceX for the HLS that SpaceX would have gone alone with NASA, would have the bracket? No, I don't think NASA thinks like that at all. I think that NASA is entirely just picking the ones that work. I think the thing is, SpaceX, if it works, delivers more than what NASA wanted. It's a huge advantage, but it is a risk. That's the problem. I think there's probably a bunch of people that aren't happy at NASA because they view this as being incredibly risky. It's so much more ambitious than anything else, and it's not what NASA asked for. And honestly, kind of makes some of the other spacecraft that would be involved in Artemis look a little small. So, like, there's internal politics going on, as far as I can tell. It's more than just protests from the other companies. We expected protests, but there might be some other stuff going on. You didn't have any Lego, so you 3D printed. This is Anthony Kuhn, who's a super chat. 3D printed some so I can fiddle with them while I watch your shuttle construction. Great if you could print Lego that fast. Would Dale Catlet, is that like a little cat? Oh, it's not a cat, it's only a catlet. Sorry, Dale, sorry, I'm just making fun of your name. You can call me Scott or whatever. Anyway, would you consider space colonization to be a matter that NASA should be more concentrated on, or an urgent issue for government? I think that NASA is the issue for government, right? That's basically, I don't think that NASA is in a position to be doing space colonization. They are about pushing the limits. If you get to a point where we're sending everyday people up there, that is no longer NASA's purview, but NASA will probably solve many of the problems needed for long-term habitation. Okay, and we got Morgan Mitskowski, who has a, I don't know who that red-eyed thing is, but that's cool. And Mark Lane with a little rocket ship. A rocket ship. Okay, so now we gotta build this cabin out a little more. Oh, look, we get panels are going to start coming in here. So, panels. Yes. So we got to make sure we put these the right way up. Look at this. It's like a tiny Apollo guidance computer, but it's not. But it's supposed. It looks like a computer. I think it's supposed to be a calculator or something. But you know, keypad and stuff. That's what a computer is for me. So there we go, start to work on this, just fill this out bit by bit. If you had your own rocket company, how would you run it? Rocket design, the goal of the company, reusable. Well, I think at this point, if I had a rocket company, it would be all going full in on reusability. But I mean, look, it would be run like a business. It would have to know where the market is. And actually, I'm not that great at understanding and reading markets. I would be terrible at it. I'm great at telling you what not to do and telling you why something might be a good idea, but, you know, boy, what would I do as a rocket company? I think actually being human rated is a pretty important thing. Dephallus. Did you know that SR-72 contains cesium? I've heard about interesting additives to fuel, but cesium, you know, people hear it and they think, oh, that's radioactive. No, cesium can be radioactive when it comes out of reactors and it ends up in all sorts of food chain stuff. But yeah, cesium is just a very reactive metal. Hello, rocket on. Rocket on. Okay, so I think we've got everything here. So we're filling out the cockpit here. Right? Will the Long March 5B, I think so the previous Long March 5B had a fairly large chunk of the plumbing reach the ground in Africa. So very likely that something will reach the ground. There's a lot of stuff in it. Oh, wait a second, what's going on here? Oh yeah, this way. So yeah, I expect that we will be seeing something actually landing. Hey Scott, still not a fan of asteroid space. Oh no, actually, so KM Dan, a lot of people got me wrong with that video. I made that video to explain why The Expanse was not quite as accurate as it might claim, because you couldn't take something as big as Ceres and turn it into an asteroid space station, right? But it is possible to make an asteroid space station, but you're not going to just melt it down and reform it. Asteroids are just not made of the material that will work like that. And then the problem is that to get the structural strength you need, it needs to be thick. And then you get into a situation where it doesn't cool down quickly enough. So they have their advantages in terms of lots of radiation shielding, but getting an asteroid station with artificial gravity isn't magic. Right? Oh, wait a second. Oh, I've got to add some more bits here. So this is bits on the side of the cockpit. And I guess there's a little bit there that comes out. Ow, I just nipped my fingers apparently. Whew. Hardly painful, but you know. Oh, this will be the bunks in the side here, right? They're adding. Can you tell us a little about your work? No, I can't. Have I thought about making the leap to aerospace software engineering? I think that if I decided to quit Apple, I would just become a full-time science educator, because apparently I'm quite good at that. Yeah, no, I love solving software problems. I do enjoy working on software in many levels. But oh, wait a second. What am I missing here? It says one. Oh, it's in here. There's one of these bits. But yeah, I don't think that I would jump to aerospace, just simply because I think there's so many better qualified people out there. What am I doing here? Oh, I gotta make this. So this is gonna be the airlock. Wait a second. So they're cheating, right? There's actually a big height difference between where the airlock is and where the airlock is in the bay. It's magic. They're cheating just a little. Okay, so this. Been an inspiration for me in my 8. So this is Marcelo S. Could you send him hello? His name is Noah. We'd be thrilled to hear from you. Hello, Noah. I hope you're having a fabulous May the 4th. May you always fly safe. Like, seriously, I'm glad you're fascinated by spaceflight, because there's a lot of space to go around, and maybe you'll get there one day on your own. Fred Byron sends a super chat saying, thanks for all the great videos over the years. What's your plan for the channel in the future? Will there be a time without the great Manly? It's a very good question, because I am constantly overloaded these days. It's really a question of, do I at one point decide to quit this and say start writing books instead, or do I just settle into a career of lucrative software development? Now, I think half the fun of this is that it is still very much a hobby, right? Okay, so we have a few little bits left. It seems worrying always when I have a few bits of Lego, because they're usually packed so well. Everyday astronomer? Who's the everyday astronomer? How could you be an everyday astronomer? You don't do astronomy during the daytime unless you're a radio scientist. So that, by the way, it was Kishti Parajuli. I'm sorry about this one, but it was asking about my work at Apple. Yeah, I don't know, like making the... So here's the thing, there's certainly stuff that I do because it's just software in general that could apply, but equally, like, there's a lot of commonality with writing for devices. In the past, if you were developing for something like an iPhone, you were developing for a very constrained environment. And so that had some commonality with aerospace, because you would have more constrained environments for your software. It's not true anymore now, because iPhones are just like as powerful as games consoles and stuff. What's the biggest challenge of space metal smelting? Did I talk about why space metal's hard? The biggest challenge is in space is thermals, because if you heat stuff up, so first of all, like anything where you're heating up and melting liquid is that you want to have convection, right? And that doesn't work without gravity. Secondly, oh, I mean, if you're talking about smelting as in processing minerals, you know, out of ores, then the part, it's not so much smelting as it is getting the chemicals you need to extract stuff from the ores. That is a major hard problem. Is this a gray one or is this a silver one? So hard to tell. What are my thoughts on the NASA asteroid simulation? They should have invited me. That's Dylan's astrophotography. No, they do this regularly, and no, I'm not an expert, but I would certainly I could do a Kerbal version. And there is going to be an asteroid day this year, by the way, and I'm working with the planners to try and bring it back. Last year was the first year that Asteroid Day didn't have me doing anything live, so I'm hoping that we can come back and, you know, do some cool stuff. Okay, so this is the back. This is the windows at the back of the cockpit. So we got to put like little control panels in here. So let me just do this. So we start here. This. So these go outwards. Okay. And then we're looking for little tiny computer consoles. So these go at the back to control things. I found all my video from the Museum of Flight. I sort of had lost it. I never got around to doing it, but it's great because I do want to come back. I got to tour like the full fuselage trainer. So this is going to be at the back of the cockpit. You see this? Yeah, you need gravity for fractionation. You need gravity to help move fluids around. There's just a lot of little things that you sort of expect to work, and they don't. Okay, so these things are going to have little control panels on them as well. Oh, look at this. So again, teeny tiny control panel. So this has to go in here. I'll show you this workstation once it's done. Yes, it is. Okay. I need a couple of things here. One, two. You've been teaching your JavaScript while working in orbital mechanics. Any chance? I'm going to say realistically, it's very hard for me to actually look at anybody's anything. But you know, you should post it to Twitter or something, and then maybe I'll get around to doing it. And if you actually say, you said you would look at this and guilt trip me in public, that'll work really well. Just saying. Like if it's in an email, then I'll probably get lost. Because I have so many emails going on. I'm sorry, I'm bad. I'm a terrible person. Okay, here we go. Oh, shoot. There we go. Why is it called the cockpit? Because sometimes there's a cock in it. I mean, I don't know where that comes from. Oh, it's a single piece. I thought it was a short piece. I do not know why I'm so sniffly. I shall have to drink more beer. Surely that can't be causing the problem. Andrew Parker is asking, Scott Manley, where will Elon Musk get his hands on nuclear bombs for melting the Martian ice caps? It's not like they're available for commercial use. Yeah, I honestly would say don't do that, because if you're really going to be trying to put a lot of energy into Mars, it's much better to divert asteroids, since there are more of those and there's more energy. So this is the little workstation at the back of the cockpit that looks out into the cargo bay. And you know what? Here's the thing, because these are little like glass blocks, it means they're naturally double paned. The windows are wrong. Of course they're wrong. It's Lego. It's an approximation, right? I know they should be separate, but do you want me to paint like a little black thing down the middle? Wow, you got so many things.
Sure, translate into which language?
No, sorry. You're not gonna, I don't need to translate it into any language. Okay, so we need to, oh, we gotta put the controls on it now. So, hold on. Wait, I'm missing a bit here. Oh, here. Wait. Yeah, this on the outside, that's right. I was confused because I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? Here we go. Cockpit comes from a nautical term that was adapted for aviation. That sounds about right, actually. There's a lot of nautical terms. I mean, hey, you know, we talk about port and starboard, and I always forget which one's which because I'm, you know, not naturally inclined. Another 4-hour beer. Yeah, I know I gotta drink more of this. I have plenty. Oh, so beautiful. It's even better because my wife went to Oakland to get me my beer. Like, there's some real, you know, that just shows how special Amy is. I mean, she's special for many other reasons, but like, that is very special. Okay, so, oh, and then we gotta put little white. What? Justin Lin says, what a job you can work with hardware for astronauts. What kind of jobs? I think there's a lot of tech jobs that let you work with astronauts. But yeah, I think anything where you're working hands-on with astronauts, you pretty much have to be one of the astronaut centers, like either in Florida or maybe at the Marshall Space Flight Center or something like that. Yes. I know port and starboard. I don't know. It's like I have to think about it. It's not like left and right, right? It's like I have to actually think for a second. Oh yes, port. And the funny thing is, the way I remember it is just remembering how a specific ship that I was on was parked, and they were like, port is on the port side. I was like, great, that makes sense. So I just have to imagine being on that ship to remember what is what. And it just means it's not quite as fast as saying left and right, which is just kind of funny that that's how my brain is working. Meanwhile, like, I remember every single piece of music I've ever heard, which is just shocking. KM Dan is saying, you mentioned you have gigabytes of emails. What was the craziest funny thing that you read and still said no? Oh God. I mean, oh wow. I don't know, like, that's a good question. What did I say no to? Generally, if something's cool, I will say yes to it. But, oh man. I certainly had a lot of like, will you, you know, here's some free expensive stuff and we'll let you, you know, could you cover it? And I'm like, no, because I work at Apple. And here's why your product sucks. I've never did that, but there's a lot of, you know, I get a lot of email where it's like, hi, we have some great projects for you. We'd like you to promote NordVPN. And I would say, great, I have an opportunity for you. Get the out of here. Like, I'm serious. Like, if you come to me with a VPN or something, you're just getting put in the bit bucket. What do you think the space shuttle was too ambitious for its time? No, I don't. I think well, okay. I think the space shuttle needed to have a space shuttle too. I think that's what it really needed. And that's the problem. It was, once they spent all the money developing it, there wasn't the stomach to make incremental improvements to it. And if they'd done that, it would have kept flying, they would have solved all the problems, and they would probably have had multiple types of space shuttle that were specialized. There might be just like the cargo only shuttle, which would have made a lot of sense because sometimes you don't need to send people up with your payload. In fact, if you're in the military, maybe you don't want to have your secret payload require crew to hang along. So here we go, back off the cockpit here. Let's bring this up so you guys can see how this looks. That's the back. See, that's the top deck where they can look at it. So thoughts on Netflix Space Force? I watched it and it seems okay, but it's not as funny as some of my favorite funny things. Like Red Dwarf for me is the gold standard for funniness, for funny sci-fi space things, right? Red Dwarf was good sci-fi, regardless of whether it was comedy. You know, that's the great thing. Good sci-fi comedy is good sci-fi first, and then comedy second. And that's one of the reasons why Red Dwarf is so good. I'm going to say actually, what's the? I forget the name. The Seth MacFarlane show. I think Seth MacFarlane really understands good sci-fi. He also understands. He thinks that he needs to fill it with more fart jokes, but he knows good sci-fi. And I think that show has so much. The Orville, yes. I think we're lucky that exists, and it's a shame that it doesn't quite hit on all cylinders all the time, fire. But I hope that we get. I hope that it continues. Okay, so we gotta do. Okay, I gotta do this in the correct order. So we get a robot hand. We're starting to work on the robot arm here. No wait, we don't. Is it a yellow one or a grey one? I only see a yellow robot hand. Oh, maybe it's a white one. It's a white one I see. The first man on Mars. You propose the first thing they eat on Mars is spam. Spam a lot. Spam a lot. Yes. Oh, wait a sec. We've got to put two of these things together. Would you do a video on Venture Star? I should totally do that. That's the X-35? Basically, the whole thing about that was having really interesting tank shapes and having an engine which was unlike anything else. It was this linear aerospike, and I would love to cover it more. So this one goes here. There we go. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, that's where that goes. And this needs to rotate that way. I'm not sure what goes in there, but we'll find out. Have you ever considered... this is Starren, who is asking, have I ever considered a collaboration with Curious Droid? I would, maybe. I've never really thought about it. A lot of the time I watch Curious Droid videos and I'm just like, I wish I'd thought to do that because he's not quite got it right. But he still covers a lot of stuff. He seems very likable. But Venture Star, I remember seeing that. The problem with Venture Star is basically they really went for the single stage to orbit. It's very clear now that single stage to orbit just isn't worth it when you can do like 2 stages. You know, we're not quite there at the engine efficiency that works for single stage to orbit. Okay, here, this is for the K-band antenna. KM Dan, what do you think what is a realistic state of humans in space 50 years from now? What would be your wishes to see? I would like to see 50 years from now at least people pretty much working long term on Mars. Like, not Mars, sorry, the moon. I think we might have people that go to Mars for short term, but we're not gonna have people staying there long term. I would like to see some asteroids visited as well. I would like to see helicopters flying on most. I would like to see probes having visited most of the major planets now. Okay, so this is the antenna, right? No, I guess that's it. It comes out here and it'll stick out over the edge to like talk, you know, to Earth or whatever, and then it folds in. So we're just folding that in here. That's how they would get their connection to TDRS, the Tracking Data Relay Satellite System. Favorite, okay, Bennett Sampson is asking, my favorite song / genre of music if you can't pick just one. Here's the thing, I love everything. But I'll talk more about music in a minute. Eric Collins is asking, do you recollect when someone said that people that go to Mars will most likely get some form of cancer? Yeah, no, the people are almost certainly going to have some chance of getting it. I mean, there's certainly potential health conditions with going to the moon. So yeah, Moxie Man is saying one of my favorite space companies was Other Space, but no one ever saw it because it was a Yahoo streaming series. I should maybe watch it. But yeah, music. Holy moly, listen, I have like 3,000 vinyl records downstairs. They're all sorts of electronic music. I have, I grew up with Queen, and Queen was the most amazing thing ever to me, and Queen does everything. Of electronics, I mean, for a long time, one of my favorite bands or producers were the Plump DJs and Orbital. Yeah, I just don't stop. What is going on here? Oh yeah, yeah. The world of my music is quite extensive. So my favorite type of music is just music that I haven't heard. I'll say that, right? My favorite type of music is always hearing something for the first time. I don't spend a lot of time going back and listening to old tunes repeatedly because there's always new tunes that are going to be surprising me. Am I going to do a video on the SpaceX contract suspension? I mean, I don't know. On one hand, I was totally unsurprised by it, but I guess that chances are that the GAO probably aren't going to overturn that. But what this is it's a signal to Congress, to the people funding, that their favorite companies can't get the contracts they want because they didn't give NASA enough money. That's my cynical take on the whole thing. That this is a coordinated thing. Like, the companies were expected to protest it, right? When you've got billions of dollars on the line, of course you lawyer up as soon as anything results in you not getting those billions of dollars. It doesn't need to have merit, it just has to have enough of a chance, right? Is it possible to have a cryptocurrency that isn't inherently damaging to Earth's climate? I think I've heard of like proof of stake and proof of space and things like that. It's possible, I don't know. That was Thomas and Fang asking about cryptocurrency. I don't know enough about some of the protocols to really judge whether it's good. Stephen Thane has a super chat that said, would love to know what I think of Underworld. And I love Underworld. I went to see them many years ago. I have their like live DVD, went back when, it was very rare to get music on DVD. Underworld, definitely one of my favorite bands. Although, I think it's interesting that I don't know what Carl Hyde sings about half the time. I think if it wasn't for him being in Underworld, he would be like some homeless street poet or something. Just like, people would be like, what's he talking? He's talking to himself, he's crazy. Yeah. I liked Underworld more when Darren Emerson were part of them. But, that's me sort of being a raver and thinking that house music will never die. We're currently building the Canadarm, right? I gotta say Canadarm so that people, get their... Oh, wait a second, is this? Yeah, this is right. I thought there would be like a twist in this. Starship winged LEO version. No, I don't think wings make any sense. Wings only make sense for cross-range capabilities, and I don't think we have a need for such expansive cross-range capabilities. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and this one has to go like that. Where is the piece? I'm staring at it. It must be here. It must be here. Damn it, there it is. You think, looks like we'll have a Falcon 9 and Starship launch on Star Wars Day, yes. And, the Falcon 9 is, of course, named after the Millennium Falcon, so how appropriate. I mean, it's not. There's a limit as to what you can say about it being named after things, because then Disney will want to come calling with claiming ownership. Of course, you know that I live in the same town as George Lucas, right? George Lucas has his home a few miles that way. My ideas for season 3. So Jay Krause is asking about For All Mankind. I think, look, I would actually like to see the single stage to orbit X-37 now, or X-35. I think that would be a cool gizmo. But they've got Pathfinder, so I guess they're going nuclear, right? It has to be nuclear. Sorry, I gotta put this in here. There we go. We got this, and oh, and it just sort of goes into space there. There, that's the arm installed on the side of the payload bay. Isn't that marvelous? Do you have advice for a computer science student with aspirations on working software engineer at NASA or SpaceX? So I'm going to say that if you're a computer science major, one of the most important things is to be publishing code in a public way that people can see. Have like a public GitHub that has projects that you're mucking around with. They don't have to be good projects, but if you apply to any job and they can't see what you've done, it's a lot harder to just take you on trust that you actually can do X, Y, or Z. So I guess what I'm saying is it makes, it's really good to get your stuff published one way or another, even if it's garbage, right? Okay, so these are the little lights at the back of the payload bay, or the cameras maybe. I guess, I can't remember, cameras. So Richard Wainwright. So that was Pacific asking about Comp Sci. And Richard Wainwright is saying thanks for the videos. Thank goodness, that is an easy one to answer. I appreciate making the videos too. I'm hoping that I can get this out of the way so I can get back to regular video making, just so you know. There's a good reason, Trevor Avert, is there a good reason why we don't make the Saturn V with F1Bs and modern computers? The design is proven, but the problem with older designs is that everything being paper, like there's so much that changed in the way that things were built, right? There's a lot of techniques that were used in the age of the Saturn V that are just no longer relevant to today's construction. Also, the Saturn V, yeah, it was not ideal in many ways. It's not as simple as taking the drawings and remaking them, because a lot of this involved sending stuff out to other companies for them to make the parts and then ship them back. And once the Saturn V stopped happening, what they did was they sold the specialist hardware they'd made, right? The tooling disappeared. And without the tooling, you can't just simply recreate these things. Anyway, did you know the shuttle's remote manipulator system was used by astronauts inside to deploy and maneuver cargo to the payload bay and astronauts during spacewalk? Yes, I do know that. Le système de manipulation à distance de la navette était utilisé par des astronautes pour déployer et manœuvrer des cargaisons dans la suite depuis l'intérieur. Ainsi que des pas des astronautes pendant les sorties dans l'espace. There, I'm doing it in French. There you go. I have talked about STS-27. When KT, if you look at my video, I believe on aerothermodynamics, I specifically talk about that. Man, my nose is just sniffly. I got to do 4 of these at both ends of the shuttle bay. Okay, sorry. Can iron brew be substituted for undersymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine? No. I'm pretty sure you do not want to get those messed up. I know, like, iron brew is some amazing stuff, but it's not rocket science. Having said that, as I've been pointing out, Wednesday is the 60th anniversary of Alan Shepard's flight on Freedom 7. And his rocket was fueled by alcohol. I missed your super chat. Let me just find it. Oh, what? Hi-Fi. If you could pick Lego's next space set, what would you pick? I was asked about that. So that was a Hi-Fi 1970. I would actually like to see a fictional space set. Or I would, now I think about it. We had the ISS. Oh man, what could we do? I would like to see a space probes collection actually. That, because I saw a really nice little space probe collection. I would like to see a set of space probes that some of them could fit in the bay of this, or just, you know, there's some really cool ones there. I think that's what I would like to see. Oh wait, this is regular. Yeah, this one's silver. Got to do the silver ones. What, do you think if the space race didn't die off, space colonies would? Nah, I don't think. I don't know actually. Hold on. Where does this one? It says 4. Oh. Wait. Does it go in the halfway point there? Oh, interesting. So wait, there's a bit in here? That's odd. Also, why is this twisted so much? There we go. There's a bit of twist in this that works. Okay, that's that. That's the lights. Oh, perseverance and ingenuity. That might be nice, but it might be hard. But the thing is, actually, there is like a helicopter in one of the Lego sets. Okay, so we have to actually start working on the doors, and we have the bits here. Da, 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 da. And this is going to take forever because I think we have to put transfer silver stickers on here. This is going to be fun. What am I looking for here? This. So we're going to start working on these doors. Is it Sniffles or the... No, it's definitely Sniffles. I get Sniffles a lot. That's just, you know... I know a fair amount about, what do you call it? About various pathogens, let me tell you. I wish Sky was here. She's got homework, so she can't stay. But she will tell you all about the wonderful world of diseases and pathogens. She has a great deal to say on that subject. You know what? I'm just going to leave this on here. So, apparently what I get to do is start applying these one at a time. Oh, wow, apparently I've missed a few. Iron brew is made of girders, according to Will Wren. Yes, it is. Made in Scotland from girders. I made a sort of fake commercial for Iron Brew once in Meteor Crater, where I talked about how iron had been transformed by the impact, and if you look around you can find some of this special iron, and sure enough I pulled an Iron Brew out of the ground and drank it. George Weed, thanks for the immaculate vibes. Have a good night. Immaculate vibes from someone called Weed. I get it. No, seriously. A Tyrant Worm, how do you dodge China's shrapnel? Luck. Seriously, either that or be north of 42° latitude. North or south. Like, if you're in the southern hemisphere, if you're further than 42 degrees south, you're okay. If you're in the northern hemisphere, then you want to be north 42 degrees. So, if you're in Canada, you're fine. Which is good because, you know, Canada have a fair history of getting hit by things. Okay, this is going to take a very long time. So these are the radiators. How's my American accent coming? I don't want to offend anyone. How about my Arstotzka accent? You guys probably don't remember that embarrassing thing where I played Papers, Please through with a complete silly accent. Is Sniffles dippings a type of marinade? No. We had made the most amazing skewers yesterday. Okay, look at this shiny. Shiny, shiny, shiny space shuttle radiators. don't know how I'm going to hit these things. I think it'll be good enough. Oh, my father-in-law's birthday was just fine. We had a fine, the feast was substantial, it was amazing, it was thoroughly enjoyable. So I think I'm just gonna put the stickers on before I put them as part of this thing. All it takes to speak American is to pronounce your T's. Oh, you put the stick, oh, okay, that's an idea. I think I'm gonna try and yeah, these are supposed to represent the radiators, right? So there's actually supposed to be two doors, like, so the doors were actually independent. They had some independent movement to let them get rid of heat. So be very careful. So that was Creative Prop giving me that hint. You're starting with a new job working on the EVA suit. Your credit, do you have any advice? Yeah, learn to program 6502 assembly language, because that's what the suit battery chargers use. 6502 was, of course, one of the earliest real computer chips, and I didn't get the sticker on right, damn it. Now I'm in trouble. I don't know very much about the suits, and also don't repair them with duct tape. You know what? I'm just going to push it in there. No one will notice. So that was, by the way, EVA suits. Torchy. Also, don't live up to your name, because suits have caught fire, right? When you have a life support system that has oxygen running through it, things go wrong and suits have actually caught fire. So Ross Brutman is very generous and says, Scott Manley, thanks for all you do. I'm going to say, Ross, thank you for making me feel good about what I do. Because I could be like doing other things, but I'm so glad to be finishing this up with you find people on the internet. So I presume everybody's going to be watching, if they can, tomorrow to see what happens. No, maybe. What about gaffer tape? Well, gaffer tape leaves less residue, so there is that. But sorry. I mean, you saw the comment from Garrett Reisman that basically said that he stuck a piece of duct tape on the outside of the space station, and you know, a couple of months later, it was completely gone. Like, it didn't handle the light intensity particularly well. Okay, so now we're going to put one of these in here, and one of these here. That's nice. And then on the other side, Bennett Sampson, been watching your videos since you were 14, good lord, and you just graduated. That is amazing! Congratulations, congratulations. Bennett Sampson, that's my favorite thing to hear, is somebody that, like, basically went through college. Like, not that I can claim any, not that I don't want to, like, I don't want to claim too much credit for this, but, you know, it's great to hear things like that. It's my favorite thing. Okay, so now we're going to fix in one of these doors. So it goes in at the back there, and then it goes in here. Come on. Come on. So you're doing aerospace, but is it, are you aiming for space or the aero side of things? Look at that. Look at that. We get part of a door on there. If you, Rasimbot has a super chat asking why the rockets on the boosters on the Chinese rockets are canted inwards, and that's simply because they are aimed to fire through the center of mass, right? That is so that if there's a failure in one of them or a reduced thrust, it's still sort of neutrally stable. So you'll see this on a lot of other rockets that have strap-on engines, right? The engines are angled. In fact, if you look at the space shuttle, these engines are angled upwards because you would normally have the external tank underneath here, and so the center of mass would be down around where my finger is here. So these engines are angled through the center of mass. So it's just a common thing to find on side attached systems. Brian Gleason, Scott Manley here. Hello! Hello, it's Scott Manley here. And I am building a rocket, a space shuttle. Have I done... I tried Space Engineers years ago. Have I tried it recently? No, because I got too many games to play. I'm so glad you just graduated high school and you're headed off to do aerospace. Listen, I'm just happy to find anyone that goes on and wants to do things. Like, let's be clear, I studied physics and astronomy. I have no actual aerospace skills. I'm just absolutely enamored with the world of space. I do have degrees in physics, so I can look at your math and complain that you're using the wrong units and mostly keep up, but, you know, engineering, rocket science is easy. Rocket engineering is just as easy in theory, but the consequences of getting it wrong are way worse, right? Engineering is the hard part. Although, you know, you make jokes about engineers just looking up numbers from their like data books as opposed to actually doing math. You know, it's being well versed in subjects helps a lot. How realistic would the Pathfinder from For All Mankind be in the real world? I'm going to have to look at that a little and do some math, right? Morning from the Prime Meridian. Has Falcon 9 recouped the cost of developing reusability? Yes, easily. Easily! Yeah, Falcon 9 has absolutely been a great decision for it to develop the cost of reusability. So that was Dan Hedron. Eliathan, Eliathan Harvey, Scott, massive fan. Love how in-depth you go into videos. How, as and Australian, could I become involved in space? Cheers, keep it up. I think Australia actually does have some sort of space program thing going on, and this is beeping over here, so I need to figure out what's going on. Oh, it stopped beeping, that's good. My wife left something in the Instant Pot cooking. Yeah, I think, you know, you got to find the parts of the country. I mean, you work with universities mainly, because that'll be where your aerospace is. Like, you could also go to New Zealand, right? I mean, Australia and New Zealand are the same, right? Sorry, that's a Flight of the Conchords joke. Yeah, New Zealand has actual rocket people. How do you think Elon's space Tesla fares at the moment? Good question. It's been a couple of years. The thing about the Tesla is that it was a car, and cars are actually designed to sit out in, you know, full sunlight. Now, this is a bit more intense full sunlight. I don't think it's getting bleached because I think it's outgassing more than anything. So I think it's still mostly recognizable. I think it will be for a long time. Spencer Berlin, I remember seeing one of your videos in a lecture at Purdue during my undergrad. Which video? That's fascinating. That one of my videos would end up, since I'm totally, I'm not an aerospace guy. Yeah, SpaceX are doing just fine. What the reusability has really helped with, of course, is made their Starlink thing much more affordable. It is nice, like I'll occasionally hear from people, it's like, oh, we watched one of your videos in our class. My fuel cell video apparently get watched by some people that I know as well. I'm gonna have to do one on solar cells soon. Solar panels are fascinating. Do I think Elon will eventually sell Tesla to focus on SpaceX? No, I think Tesla is his thing. He likes it. He likes the idea of self-driving cars. Lucky's running around. You were hearing my doggy run around. You gonna let Lucky out? This Tesla Sportster will land in time for this. Well, I was thinking actually, you know, we've got this human landing system that SpaceX are developing, right? And they're supposed to do a demo launch, and it actually has quite a lot of cargo capability. So what do you think they'll fly on their first test landing on the moon? And I thought, oh, maybe they'll put a Cybertruck on the moon. Oh, wait, I must have made a mistake here. I made a mistake here. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I totally think that we're going to see a Cybertruck on the moon. Any plans on visiting the Air Force Museum? I actually had an invite, and I think I've kind of screwed it up because I missed the emails. I think that Elon will do the Cybertruck thing. Not that I'm a big fan of the Cybertruck, but it just seems like the most SpaceX thing to do. Like, I think they want to demonstrate they have big cargo capabilities, so that would be totally in line. Plus, because it's stainless steel, is going to be, unlike the, right, putting the Roadster in space, it's going to get, you know, ruined over time. Whereas if you've got something that's solid stainless steel, it's going to be fine. And yeah, there's some reflected light from this. It's fascinating. Look at that.
I was worried they had a flea.
Oh dear. Do I believe Starship will fly orbital in 2021? That's the plan, but I think Elon time could push it to 2022. Yeah, so Luigi Cruz is asking about the Air Force National Museum in Dayton. I have actually been invited. I really want to go. I just got to find time to do it. And obviously COVID has kind of messed that up. Edward Larson is strangely enough thanking me for helping him get into EVE Online, which is a strange thing. But no, I if you understand that game, then you love it. But also, it's fantastic that you're studying aerospace. So. Okay, so now we're going to repeat the rest. We've got to do a check. You can say that Lucky has little carriers.
No, I just want you to check us on itching, but I don't have my glasses.
Okay, Sky doesn't have glasses either. I'll get up to him before bedtime. So did you know the internet in space for Space Shuttle and ISS is delivered by the Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System, right? That's basically a network of stations in geostationary orbit. The first ones were launched in the 80s. And did you know that one of the engineers that worked on that developed the avionics and stuff was Jack Black's mum. She was an engineer that worked on, you know, avionics, electronics, all the good stuff. And you know, while in this 1969, while working on something for Apollo 12, she actually had to go to the hospital to give birth. But she took the problem with her. And then Jack Black came out. Yeah, what a legend. If I ever meet Jack Black, I'm totally going to say, I'm a huge fan of your mum.
And you.
And you, but your mum. Lucky is not a breed, he's a mud. He's a mutt.
Don't say that to anybody.
And you have to very quickly follow up anything like that with an explanation. Like, because I'm into space. Because I appreciate engineering. Did you read Cracked, or did you just know that? I saw it on Twitter recently. And I know somebody that was working with Jack Black on some music recently, so I sort of had to bring that up. Yeah. Yeah, there's also, so wait a second, Minuteman launch on Wednesday, right? Not Tuesday. So it's tomorrow night, but not Right. Yeah. Anyway, is Apple aware of the channel? Do they care? They're definitely aware. Basically, when I came into Apple, I already had the channel going, so I'm sort of grandfathered in. But I think if you know, Apple's actually pretty accommodating for artistic endeavors, right? You have to consider that at some point, like Dr. Dre, Trent Reznor have been Apple employees while also doing this whole, music thing. Right? Yes, I could actually look in the Apple directory and find Trent Reznor's email if I wanted. So yeah, I think Apple's pretty accommodating of that kind of thing, as long as you're just not being doing stupid things. When will SN15 launch? Hopefully in the next 24 hours. You guys should see my post on Twitter about the SN15 launch. It's special. Look, you just I am using the tools in a good way, and I'm not talking about like anything related to my day job. Okay, so we've got this. This is looking good, huh? So I'm gonna have to put some stuff on there. It looks like a real thing. Scott Manley, Bill in Florida. Oh, thank you. Oh, not Bill Nelson in Florida. I'd have to get a drink. I did make the marinade. Yes, sorry, wildflower. I worked on the skewers with my wife, so we did actually do it, and they were absolutely delicious. You grew up not far from where Tim Cook was born. I'm surprised he doesn't get more accolades down there. I don't know where he gets accolades. Like, Tim Cook is, no slouch. The thing about Tim Cook was that he really excelled in the operations side of the company. He was able to get things moving, devices getting built and things like that. And that's what really worked well for Apple. I'm just going to do both of these things. Can Ingenuity auto-rotate if it gets loss of power? Probably not. It doesn't have the energy. The main problem that Ingenuity has with Endurance is that the motors get hot too quickly. Like, it can't dissipate heat. And so they're basically limited because at a certain temperature, the motors are going to stop working. This is the first stream you've seen. You know what? I do streams on Twitch, usually every Tuesday night, although we're usually playing Kerbal, doing runway project or things like that. When do you think Starship will actually make it to orbit? Definitely not this year, because we have... I think we might get a booster to orbit, but that's not really going to be Starship. I mean, I think... The thing is, if we're going to get it to orbit, they're going to have to find a place to land it that doesn't involve it flying over half the country. And Boca Chica is not the place where they can do that. There's too many inhabited places nearby. And there's too much energy in something that big and fast. Do you think so Bradley Ratcliffe is asking, do you think there will be a Starship Super Extra Heavy variant? And if you could guess what do you think of the next SpaceX rocket after Starship? Look, the next SpaceX rocket after Starship that is on the cards is Starship Fat, right? It's the 18-meter fatter version. I don't think we're going to see many things going to Mars. They're talking about moving people to Mars on Starship.
Oh
I think
gosh.
I think if you're doing that big time, you're going to have like the 18-meter fat version. Will Lunar Starship... Yes, this is a kitty. This is a Sage.
This is the shy one.
Aegon the Mad. Nice Game of Thrones reference. Will Lunar Starship's mass volume enable more than just surface science and bootprints like industrial dev, refining, construction? It will enable more stuff, but it won't enable those because those require like developing the tech. I think we might see some prototype hardware delivered to demonstrate capability, but we're not going to see like an industrial thing created. Okay, so we're going to do this, not this. Scott Sky Sage, yes, it's true. I think I say 75% chance of an SN landing tomorrow. That's my number. And it is not based on anything other than observation. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff in this design. So while on some hand they may have solved problems, they equally might find some new problems in the design. Will Apple ever bring... Well, the fingerprint sensor is currently on the SE. If you want to buy an SE, which is a fantastic phone, I've bought a few of them for my family, then yeah, you can still get fingerprint sensor on that. But I certainly right now, I can understand why you might want a fingerprint sensor rather than the face thing. But also, yeah, the whole thing with the home button is that it takes a lot of screen real estate. So I can also see that designers would prefer to make a more compact device with a bigger screen. So I don't know what future versions of the device hold, but I can tell you that right now, if you want to have a iPhone with a fingerprint sensor, you can buy the SE, which is a fantastic device. It's still faster than most Android devices. Did you know the 60-foot long payload bay doors are always open to activate radiators? Yes, I do know that. Okay, so now we have to insert these reinforcements. Oh dear, okay, sorry, sniffling. I've watched you since 8th grade. I'm in my 2nd year at college. That's crazy. I so love that you are doing engineering. Okay, so now I gotta put stuff on the inside. Look at this. Oh, here. Look at that. So we're now putting some stuff on the inside here to hold these together. It was one of the problems they had on the early shuttle missions. They had a hard time closing the doors because they had expanded or something in flight. Will you be playing the upcoming Mass Effect Trilogy remaster? You know, I might just do that actually, because Mass Effect is a game. I bought Mass Effect Trilogy twice. I bought it on PlayStation 3 and I bought it on PC, and I never played it through, but I've watched people play it through, and there's so much I like about it, and I'm really sort of looking forward to having a chance to not play it through. But I'll probably buy it and then not have time to play it through again. You know, I'm hoping that things are better this time. I am kind of looking forward to it regardless. But it's a sort of running joke that I get this and then I never play it through. Look at the door. Oh, the door's not. Yeah, we're having it. Oh my goodness, we're getting so close. Wow. So that was Basie Boylog, by the way, asking about Mass Effect. Sea Dragon engines, that's, again, I've talked about this and I was corrected by Tom Miller of all things, so I'm going to go with him and say he thinks it's possible, so it might be possible. Excuse me, I'm going to get some beverage. Give me a second. Oof. Okay. So yeah, these are growlers. This one has a sticker on the side that says Wizard Up, but it actually contains Fruitvale Grind. Again, it has beer with coffee in it. Maybe I shouldn't be drinking this at night before going to sleep, huh? I hope they don't fly early tomorrow, because like the last flight, I actually woke up and they had already exploded in this fog, so I never saw anything. I was like, well, I wasn't even awake. Like, what are we gonna do? We don't know. It looks like a Buran Energia from this angle. It might just. So we also have some stickers to put on here and here. And they are worms. So these ones are going to be harder because they have to get put on straight. I wish they told me that before I put the doors in place. I think that's pretty good. Closure happens in the afternoon. Oh, it happens in the afternoon? Good to know. Have you seen my post on Twitter? Have you seen my post on Twitter? Oh, let me tell you, it is special. I have, since it's May the 4th, yeah, look it up. If you, I'm missing something here. There's these pieces here that I haven't put in place. Okay. Oh wait, here. These ones, where do they go? Oh, on top here. I see. Aha. Okay, so let's fix this. Let's get this. I was like, there's too many pieces that are left here. That's unusual. I'm kind of worried there's a few more bits here left, and I always get worried. It's like, there's a few bits here. More bits than I think there should be. So does Biden have anything planned for NASA? Look, all I know is that the Bill Nelson has been appointed faster than any previous NASA administrator, right? And we've already been told the Vice President will chair the Space Council meetings, so I hope she comes back to Oakland so I can have a chat with her. Yeah. You have also heard that Kayla Barron is going to be flying on Crew 3. She'll be like one of the youngest astronauts in space in a very long time. Just checking to make sure that I've got all the bits. Yeah, I think I did everything in here. Yeah, that looks about right. No, I can't see anything that I'm missing here. Okay, well, I guess there's a bunch of bits left over. I don't know, I always see these really big sets, there's a lot of, it's like there are a lot of really tiny pieces. Like this is my extras. Did I use Star Wars Intro Creator? No, I used iMovie. So, yes, my post on Twitter was a reference to it being May the 4th. And I gave SpaceX a nice little Star Wars intro. Okay, bag 14. Getting there. Oh. Come on, you bastard. Can you believe this is... There we go. Just had to be careful I didn't do it too hard. They put bags inside the bags. Could Starship really send people... No, you could totally... Here's the thing, once you get out to Mars or Venus, you can gravity assist anywhere. But look, the problem with going out to Saturn or Jupiter or something is the energy that you get from the solar panels gets a lot lower, and the amount of energy you need from the human body just keeps the same. Okay, so we're going to start building out the front of the shuttle now. That's right. Pristine new bag here. So this is obviously going to be working on the cockpit. Jared Harmon is asking, with a $5 super chat, what do you think your chances are of being picked for Dear Moon? You've inspired so many people, I really hope you get picked. I think my chances are probably 0 since I went and missed one of the deadlines. But all the same, maybe somebody else drops out, maybe somebody nominates me. The truth is, though, I'm. There are so many amazing people that have applied. I wouldn't have a problem unless the people that did win were all terribly uninspiring individuals, because there's so many amazing people are actually applying. Like the whole Inspiration 4 thing, I saw that and I just didn't want to. I saw the people that were basically working on that, and I realized that I didn't want to be that person to feel responsible for pushing out somebody that was really cool. And I'm glad that, Cyan Proctor's on there, because she is amazing. Me! Yay! Thank you, me! But here's the thing, like, if I went to space on Dear Moon, I would totally invent some sort of cool zero-G dance. Right? Like, that would be my thing. I'm not even kidding. I would totally do like zero-G TikToks or something. Like, hey, what, TikTok's gonna steal my data and location? Ha, try doing that when I'm in deep space. Okay. So wait, what do I do? That seems strange. Okay, that's an interesting Capcom 1969. If not, who would you like to nominate for Dear Moon? I can't remember who else has been. Didn't John Krause? I would really like. I think someone that, or any of the space photographers, any of these young generation of space photographers who are coming out and throwing photos. I like John Krause because, I don't know, I just sort of randomly run into him on the side of the road, and he just seems so genuine and humble and just always produced amazing pictures. So that's kind of why I would say that. Equally, no, I'd like to see a lot of actual artists. Like, I know they've sort of backed away from the idea of artists and stuff, but I'm very much, I actually am a believer of the original pitch. Rob Girdler. Just want to thank you for all the great information. Have a beer on me. I am having a beer right now. Thank you. Fruitvale Grind by Ale Industries of Oakland, next to Fruitvale Station, for those of you that don't know. Am I going to watch The Bad Batch? Oh yes, shoot, The Bad Batch comes out tomorrow, doesn't it? Yes! I'm so looking forward to that. Like, the Clone Wars was a show that just kept on getting better, and I'm actually kind of glad that they're starting another animated series. I haven't really got into Resistance. Does it get better at any point? Or am I just going to be embarrassed the whole time as if I'm watching a kid's show? But yeah, Bad Batch I'm totally going to watch more of. I need to do way more live streams. These are awesome. This is me just chilling. I would like to do live streams where I just have me and like Sky talking science or something. Like, she's not nearly as into science as me, but she does have a lot of cool things to say, let's say. Okay, so this is gonna come in here and cover stuff. How does this fit in? Like this? It looks very, very light. I guess that's exactly what I do. Okay, so it sticks on the nose here. They must have worked very... Rebels, yeah, Rebels got really good. Again, early on, like, oh, that really hurt. But, like, Rebels towards the end was so good. Have you watched any of Dune? Well, I've read all the... the first 6 books that were actually published by Frank Herbert, and they got progressively worse over time. All the same, I'm very excited for Dune. And I'm going to say also, I really like the David Lynch movie, right? I like David Lynch, and I know that what he did for Dune was not really what many people wanted, but I like his version in a lot of ways. I've never seen the Sci-Fi Channel adaptations. I should probably get around to watching those. Yeah, I mean, I remember my dad getting Dune, like, from renting it on VHS, and my mum was just like, what is this stupidity? And me and my brothers didn't quite get it, but eventually we thought it was cool. So John, 499 Super Chat is asking, why does SpaceX develop their rockets out in the open while other companies do it more secrecy? Here's the thing, SpaceX is progressively becoming more secret. What's happened is that they started just trying to build stuff as quickly as possible, and that meant that they didn't have a facility to build it in, right? I just realized I missed this. And that meant that, yeah, they were building it outside. Uh-oh, darn. But over time, you can see that they are building more support stuff. They're putting more stuff inside structures, and the structures are going from being tents to like hard structures. And we're going to see less and less stuff out in the open. But I think SpaceX are equally, you know, they're trying to keep things secret, but like, I think there's a certain amount of, you know, happiness that there's people covering these things, right? It's being documented in a manner, in a way that we've really never seen before. And it's not necessarily because it's not intentional. So yes, SpaceX did it that way because they wanted to. A lot of space stuff, they start by designing the process by which they will build the parts. There's a lot of time spent figuring out all the stuff on paper before they even build a machine. And SpaceX is pretty much going straight in to the building of the rockets and then figuring out then how to build their machines. That makes sense? That's what I think anyway. Does anyone know how Michael got on board in Stairway? Oh dear. Listen, it was always pitched to me that there would be a space above it and he fell down inside behind the panel, and that was, once the gravity got in, that was the only way he was able to get out. Yeah. He was pushed into that space by the power of plot. Again, it was one of those things. It's like, well, you know, if you need me to come up with something, just let me know. And I think at some point, Joe probably was, you know, embarrassed to ask me for more things, or maybe he was terrified because I would just keep on sending him random emails with stuff. You know, like it was a fascinating experience, right? I would do it again at the drop of a hat. Oh, I see what's going on here. Wifey, get on. No, Amy's elsewhere doing her thing. I'm very much interested in Dune, partially because it's Denis Villeneuve. I very much love his work on things like Arrival. You know, let's be clear. I have that, and the sound. Arrival is a movie where I just love listening to it. The sound is so good. And so actually I think he might do I'm hoping he does a good job in catching the sort of ambience of the sandworms. Because, you know, if you think about it, these are monstrous creatures, huge. And they're just driving their way through the sands of the desert of Arrakis. And I'm sure, like, they will have sound engineers trying to make that. Oh, I love Blade Runner 2049, but I totally understand why it was a flop. But I own Blade Runner 2049. I think every single... See, here's the thing. Blade Runner 2049 didn't quite reach the heights of the original Blade Runner in many ways, but every single shot in that movie is an absolute work of art. Like, you can freeze frame almost any shot in that movie and it's just art. That's when you know you've got a good movie. That's when you've got something very special. Did the space shuttle? No, the space shuttle wings did not carry fuel. The only fuel that was carried in the space shuttle was in these pods up here. That was where they contained most of the propellant for the orbital maneuvering system. There were also hydrogen and oxygen in the cargo bay down here, and there was like reaction control propellant up the front for these thrusters. But most of the propellant for the space shuttle was carried in the external tank. Could SpaceX build something like the space shuttle? This is Sahil P, by the way. In the future, do you think there's a better fuel than CH4 waiting to be discovered? CH4 isn't a great fuel, and it's a good fuel for many reasons. It's not always a great fuel for every reason. SpaceX could do it, but I'm not sure if that is what they want to do. Okay, so I think I've got all the pieces for this. So I'm going to squeeze this onto the side, and hopefully it just locks in. I think that's right. That looks about right. Wow. I'm going to close these cargo bay doors. Oh. So there we go. We've just added this thing on the side here. So remember, the black spots on the space shuttle the black tiles are the ones designed to handle the most heat, right? Roger Deakins was the director of photography on Blade Runner 2049. Is that it? Yeah, Blade Runner 2049. It was so good looking. Were you sad to see Bridenstine go? I mean, I guess so. Like, you know, I'm gonna say what I'm most sad. What makes me feel as a missed opportunity is that I wish Pam Melroy was going to be the actual administrator rather than just the deputy administrator or assistant or whatever. I hope that there's a spot for her in the future. She is she's the real thing. I'm gonna say that, right? Okay, so look at this. I don't know what this is we're building, but we're building it. Are you a Formula One fan? I used to be a Formula One fan in the 90s, right? And just I came to the US and it just wasn't on anywhere and I sort of faded away from it. But I still think that Murray Walker is one of the greatest sport commentators ever, and I was really sad to see him die recently. Although, having said that, it was kind of inevitable. But yeah, Formula One was sort of my favorite thing for a long time. But time, changed. Do you think For All Mankind is realistic? Not at all. Not at all, but I think they do try to give it some elements of verisimilitude. Does that make sense? I think they try to give it just enough. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, interesting. Aha. So there's this and this. Oh, look at that. They both have almost the same shape. Are there any major downsides to having VABs in Earth orbit so we build more efficient craft? I think they wouldn't be so much vehicle assembly. There might be a vehicle assembly building, I guess. I don't know if there's any advantages to having them indoors. That's what I would say. Okay, so we're gonna do this and this. Ooh. You're starting a dirigible company. Wow. Heavy. I don't think Bill Nelson will bring back any Constellation. First of all, his job is not to represent his constituents in Florida anymore, right? And truth is, like, once a Commercial Crew really get going, he was quite happy to go head to head with Dick Shelby and say, why are you not funding this really critical thing? So there's, you know, when you look at his history, you have to keep that in mind, that he was, I gotta turn off this dishwasher. I think I gotta wait and see on Bill Nelson, but I think he's probably just gonna use his political clout and experience to get what's best for NASA. That's what I hope. Oh, building stuff in the kitchen, obviously. Do you think... okay, where do you think the highest possible chance to find some life other than in the solar system? I think the highest chance is probably... Wait, what's going on here? Hold on. Oh, that's what goes on here. This. There we go. Can you only afford this as a college student? Did you hear about the guy who snuck onto the... I did, no, I totally saw that, and all I'm just thinking... I was just shaking my head in shame. Like, first of all, he didn't really know what he was doing, but secondly, it was just, this is not a good look for SpaceX to have some random, like, video blogger being driven there by his mum and walking around the site unchallenged. I don't think that, yeah. I don't think that's a good look for SpaceX. Having said that, I mean, there was a few clues and stuff, a few angles we got there. My opinion on Interstellar now, there's an interesting one. I actually got to see Interstellar early, I remember, because I got an invite from like B612 Foundation, and they had a special showing that was sponsored, I think, by Lockheed or something. And we got to see it in IMAX, and it was just intense. But yeah, I mean, the movie had some problems. Was that it was by far the loudest movie I had ever seen. And I thought, wow, this is really trying to get the experience of a rocket launch. And then I talked to, wait a second, that's another thing. I talked to one of the astronauts that was there, and he was like, wow, that is the loudest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, wait a second, you've flown on rockets? Are you saying that that movie was louder than riding on a rocket? And he was like, I've rode on the Space Shuttle and Soyuz, and none of them came close to that movie. So yeah. No, I like a lot of stuff about Interstellar. There's a few things that I would fix though. There's like, I thought there was some problems with the orbital mechanics about going down to the black hole, which made it only, if you looked at it as a sort of orbital mechanics thing, you're like, well, wait, where are they getting the delta V to go down into this black hole gravity well and then come back out? Look at how beautiful that is. Is that not marvelous? So Crude X-37B was something that was absolutely planned, but it's probably not going to happen. Do I play chess? Many years ago I used to play chess. Many, many years ago. I'm not... I wouldn't consider myself particularly well qualified in that front. Wait, I just... Oh, there, they slide that in there. Good. Why do you think Starship and Space Shuttle are so similar? Because they're actually running through very similar regimes. They have to be able to return from orbital speed, control their descent and re-entry, and then come in for a landing. So actually, there is a lot in common. You got to have aerodynamic surfaces that work at hypersonic speeds and bring you all the way down to subsonic speeds. Honestly, the Space Shuttle flew like a brick. the space shuttle wanted to be a plane, right? But in truth, it flew like a brick. I like to point out that the descent rate of the space shuttle was so fast that if during its glide and descent you jumped out of the space shuttle, it would land before you hit the ground. That's how fast it was descending. It's faster than the terminal velocity of a human body. Okay. But are the I think they're in back order right now, so you have to wait. But they'll be in stock for a while. Like, if you haven't done Space Lego, I think the best value is possibly this International Space Station. There's a lot of fun to be had in that one. Yeah, the glide ratio in the space shuttle was about 3-1, but it was doing it at a very, very high speed. Sorry, get some sniffles still. Okay, I just don't think I'm getting away from my sniffles today. How do you think Starship could have an abort system? I mean, it has to have some way to escape from a rocket in flight. But, I mean, what it'll have, I don't know where on the envelope it's going to have a... Like, there's a point, basically, in the ascent where it's not going to be capable of having a safe abort. Like, that's just what it is. Now, NASA's not going to have to deal with that initially because NASA is going to be flying people on the... Oh, I'm just realizing something. Oh no, we got that. I thought I might have missed a piece. I was like, oh, I don't remember fitting that piece. Yes, and NASA isn't going to have to worry about abort scenarios for Starship on ascent just yet because they're not doing that. They're flying their people on the Orion capsule on SLS, and what's in my glass is Fruitvale Grind. It's beer with coffee, which is exactly what you need when it's 11 o'clock at night. I totally have to finish this now. Like, I've got 3 more bags going, and you guys, I know you distract me, but equally, I love being distracted and chatting. What am I gonna do? Like, yeah. What it was wacky whiskey. Was there some wow moment that originally got me interested in space? Yeah, seeing Star Wars. Like, Star Wars was the thing that made me interested in space. Like, it transformed me. I know Star Wars is not scientifically accurate, obviously, as somebody that talks about how scientifically accurate things are. But it was very influential on me. And sometimes it's the setting more than the science. Are you not in England? No, I'm in California. I live in a little town in Marin, the same town that George Lucas was living in and still lives in when he was writing Star Wars and Indiana Jones. If you go to the town square, there's a statue of Yoda and a statue of Indiana Jones. That's how, I accidentally ended up in this town, and it's kind of funny. I didn't plan this. I was just like, I bought a house here because we were looking for a place to live, and a few days later I'm like, oh wait, why is there a statue of Yoda here? And then I found the whole history of this town. And it's like fascinating. You just keep randomly meeting people that worked at like Lucasfilm Games. And yeah, we have the mountain bike museum. Everybody mountain bikes, like everywhere. It's absolutely crazy, and frankly, I'm makes me want to bike more. Except that it also makes me want to get an electric bike so I can ascend those hills a little faster because I'm tired. Yeah. There's also a Yoda statue in San Francisco as well, in the Presidio. Yeah, I really I wish I had more time for mountain, but I've been doing a lot of hiking though. And let me tell you, I'm one of these people that can hike uphill faster than some mountain bikers. Slim Pickens, hey, I know that reference. Why is it so out of the question not to have an abort system? I'm sorry that people die every day. It needs to be more reliable, but in my opinion, so yeah, if you can make your ascent vehicle reliable enough, then you might be able to argue that you don't need an abort system. You have to argue that's going to be a hard sell for some people. That's just the sort of nature of things. It's a trade-off. It's concessions. So yeah, anyway, I think like for Deer Moon, it's entirely plausible that if they can't reliably, if they think that they don't trust the landing system enough with people, they might just put them on Dragon and fly them up there on a Dragon. That way you avoid the abort thing, and then land them with Dragon. Then have the Dragon like dock to the starship and have it fly to the moon. That would seem to make a lot of sense. Okay. Bingo. Bango. Bango bingo. What would happen to the space industry if the original BFR 400 tons actually flew? Well, the problem is that it still doesn't offer easy access to a specific... Connect! We're back! Are we back? I hope we're back. Yes. I don't know. The connection just dropped. The internet was misbehaving, but we have persevered, as they say. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Sunspots. What? Why have we got sunspots? Refresh won't save us this time. What? I think it was my internet that went down. Definitely. I mean, this is of course one of the reasons why people argue I should have Starlink. But honestly, I need as much bandwidth as I can get, and Starlink doesn't actually offer me enough bandwidth. It works for. It'll be great for some people, just not people like me, who want all the bits for themselves. Give me all your bits. All of them. I want unlimited power. Have you tried Hell or High Watermelon? All the time. 21st Amendment makes some fantastic beers. Actually, my favorite 21st Amendment beer, okay, it's the one that I want all the time but I can't get, is Spark Ale, which is like beer champagne. It's really sweet and bubbly, and I drink it with Amy when we're having champagne. Tom A. Sanders says, if fuel were not an issue, could you re-enter without a fuel shield? Yes, but it would take more than Ascent. Well, it wouldn't take more. It would take slightly less because you're braking. But think about it. The Falcon 9 boosters, they have to slow down before hitting the atmosphere. Otherwise, they would get damaged too much. So even that has limits. Okay, now wait a second. Discovery. Great. So yeah, it takes a lot more fuel to decelerate than you would imagine. And the Falcon 9 boosters have to do it because they really have these exposed engines and they can't handle all the heat. Like, we in Kerbal Space Program don't appreciate just how fragile things are. Okay. Now, this is, there we go. Oh, this is so well built. Look at that beautiful thing. Whoa. Okay. No. Na 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 na. Can you please make some video about SSTO or with the everyday astronaut? Yeah, I would have totally made a video about why SSTOs suck, but everyday astronaut did it. This is always the problem, that sometimes there's a lot of people now making space stuff, and I see people making videos, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could have made that video. And here's the thing, if I then watch that video, sometimes it gets me angry because I'm like, but they missed this really important thing. They got this thing wrong. and you're sort of in the situation where it's like, I should really make a video to fix what they said. But if I do that, people will assume it's just sour grapes. Yeah, no, I've seen Thunderfoot's video, Busted video. I think he's wrong on a lot of things, and he's selectively quoting. I disagree with a lot of the things he said on there. Having said that, I also think, by the way, that he should have paid Trevor for the footage. I think that would be, it would be reasonable. He shouldn't have necessarily, or he should have asked first, right? That was the most important thing. I do not think it was fair use by any measure, and I think that he also deleted tweets after being called out on it, where he said stuff which would imply that it wasn't fair use. Well, anyway, look. Regardless, Thunderfoot does do some good stuff. I think it's especially good when he busts Kickstarters or making stuff that are impossible. Basic engineering. So, you know, he kind of has a take. His thing pretty much does rely on being able to use people's footage. But, yeah. You know, just he does seem to have a thing about SpaceX or Elon Musk in specific, and yes, you know, you can definitely argue that some of the stuff that Elon promises is not doable in any, or will require some sort of transformational thing. Okay, this is, okay, I gotta try and get this in here. Wait a second, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, SpaceX requires orbital fueling of Starship to work. That's what I don't get. This has... And we're back again! I wonder, hold on, I'm just gonna check something here. Oh, look at that. I've realized that I was streaming on and not on Wi-Fi. Oops. I've just used up all my cellular data. Oh dear. So I'm just switching over networks to Wi-Fi. That might fix the problem. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm just trying to figure out why this thing doesn't appear to be linking in the way it was advertised. It pops off when I do that. I don't get it. This bit doesn't work. 480p content. What have we switched? Are we out of 480p mode? Yes. No, it's totally. There's a lot of people that just like will go to Thunderfoot as their refutations of everything Elon Musk says, which is dangerous and frequently wrong. Why? There must be something I'm doing wrong here. Because this does not appear to fit in the way that I would expect. Hold on, let me flip back a second. No, that's correct. If I take this bit out, it'll totally fit. What's the highest price I'd be prepared to pay for a new Shepherd ticket? That is a good question that I cannot answer. Like, that seems to work fine. That looks totally legit. But if I put this thing in, it's not going to work. Yeah, new Shepherd ticket is more. I mean, it's basically. God, I mean, it would be like $10,000. If it's more than $10,000, that's just too much. Because I can't honestly justify that level of expenditure. Oh, wait a second. Maybe I've got a bit missing here. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. How about this? This looks like it's supposed to go in there. Maybe. See, this is what happens. Sometimes you notice, you make mistakes, you find mistakes. Hey, it's breaking. It either doesn't click in or it breaks. And this thing seems to be making all the difference. I gotta go back and look. This works fine, but as soon as I add this stud, it's not right. Okay, rewind. That's totally correct. I don't know. I think I'm gonna just leave that out of there because it seems solid enough without it. We're just gonna treat that as this extras piece that causes this not to break. Look at the nose! How's the stream looking? Have we fixed the problem? Yeah, I used all my internet wireless data on this. Hello, T.S. Richard, hello! Yeah, you don't need to repeat that a million times. We all get that I occasionally say, hello! Yeah, there's real scientists working on Musk's projects. That's the thing. In fact, I hear he quite likes having real scientists working with him on projects. It's just kind of what you do. Oh, I've got a project. Shall I work with a bunch of numpties? No. Gonna work with the scientists. Okay, here we go. There we go. Hello from Israel. Do I have a favorite? My favorite national park is Volcano National Park on the Big Island in Hawaii because it has volcanoes and jungle. Okay, we're missing, yeah, these bits here. Whoa, almost knocked this over. There we go. Oh, this is so good. Fantastic. What more can there be to this design? I guess there's still the flaps and the tailplane to add. We're on to bag 15. We're getting there. SpaceX do not appear to be using methane transpiration cooling anymore. That was talked about in the early days, but it looks like they are using something else. It looks like they're just using tiles, which are going to reduce thermal conduction into the skin. I don't know what like trade-off resulted in this, but you know, because it would on the Blue Origin protest against NASA, it was absolutely expected when you have billions of dollars floating around that you were going to protest any decision that could result in you not getting some of those $1 billion. And it's not just Blue Origin, it's also Dynetics, who have made their own protest. I think that equally it's a way of showing off to their Congress people that, you know, maybe you should be paying more attention to this whole space thing. Because we all know the real problem here is the fact that Congress didn't give them enough money. And when I say they, I mean NASA. Oh, yeah, it's another one of these. Could Starship make a better New Shepard, perhaps? More sea level in? Well, New Shepard is interesting in a bunch of ways because, see, New Shepard has this hydrogen engine. They spent a lot of money developing this engine, which they really don't need for that application, but it did give them a lot of experience with hydrogen engines, which probably, you know, put them in a good position for working on things like human landing system. But yeah, it's I don't know, it doesn't need that kind of performance. The insectoids is my favorite Lego space theme. Any advice for someone whose computer science would work with someone like JPL? As I said, if you want to work on anything, you should write code and publish code. That's how you get involved. Did I do this together backwards? Oh. I did, I put this backwards, okay. How did I not... I'm mirror challenged. Yep. Put your code out there on the internet. Write stuff that people are interested in. You know, even if it's just mods for games, right? There's a lot to be said for just developing things. The hardest thing when I interview people is people that don't have any record of their work. Like they're basically, oh, I worked at Yahoo and I can't actually show you what I worked on because it's a private company. And I'm like, great. So here's a testing problem. They're like, oh, I don't know how to do this anymore under pressure. Whereas if you have a really good body of existing work, then you are gonna be much more convincing. Here we go. Like there's so many problems you can spend time solving, or just so many cool tricks that you can show the world. It doesn't even have to be good, it just has to be there. It just has to be out so that it shows that you aren't a complete numpty that's lying about your capabilities. There we go. So we're starting to make the fins at the elevons, right? So these, I believe, go in here. Hoping this works. Oh, look at that. We have a bit of an elevon on there. And this makes them go up and down. Beautiful. Am I a software engineer? Yes, I am. No, I'm not a software engineer, actually. I'm not a software engineer because I really just throw stuff together. Engineers are people that develop code carefully and considerately, and they write specifications, right? And I very rarely write specifications. I'm usually just like starting to work on the problem the moment that I'm told that there's a problem to fix. And I usually iterate through several solutions before finally coming down to the one that I use. So yeah, I think software engineering is something where your specs are more important than the code you produce. Because, you know, engineering is very much a discipline that is driven by good documentation. Engineers, at least not without being too... I'm just saying, most software developers I know don't write specs or documents or design anything. They code before they do anything. Okay, and I've just broken my piece. What about firmware engineers? I don't know, like, what about them? I mean, sorry, I'm just trying to get this set up. That. Finding all these pieces. And this is the other one here on the tip. So again, oh wait, this is kind of out of place, so how do I fix this? I can put one on there. This one's going to be hard because it's... Oh, there, I'll do that. Okay. Excellent, got my Elevon. Notice how fast that moved. That might as well be a Kerbal control surface, because that's about how fast they move in the game. Wow, this is heavy, by the way. Ah. Okay. Okay. Let's start with this. Lot of plastic. Yes, acrylic. How are we doing in terms of time? 11:09. I'm gonna have to work harder, which is very hard when you guys are there. Better be heavy. That's $500. It's not. It's $200 in Lego. Maybe it's $500 in some country that has non-American dollars as their dollars. You spelled college wrong twice. What? Where are the Elonerons? There's no Elonerons on the space shuttle. They have elevons. That is a combination elevator and aileron. If you could have your time again knowing what you know now, what do you think your career would be? I'd probably be an astronaut by now. I would have, I tell you what, there was a time when I was younger and I was very much opposed to the idea of moving to America. And I might have, I would have probably thought differently these days. But yes. I mean, look, depends what you mean by if there was time. Actually, I'll tell you what, like realistically, 20 years ago, if I'd known what I knew now, I would have probably made job decisions that were better. And I know for a fact that I ended up at a company, I had a chance to go to a company that pretty much became one of the feeder, everyone from it basically was an early Facebook employee. It wasn't that company, but they knew they were with Sean Parker and writing code, and so most of them transferred over to early Facebook, and so I would have been stupidly rich, and I would have probably never been playing Kerbal Space Program on the internet. So yeah, be careful what you wish for. Sometimes your idea, sometimes the best thing for me isn't necessarily the best thing for the world. Right? The world would change in different places if I was selfish and just looked at the amount of money that I could make, right? Okay, here we go. Okay, it's another one of the ailerons on there. Get your ailerons. Oh, sorry, elevons. Have I mentioned that if I was a space shuttle, I would love my elevons? Because that's how I roll. Playing Kerbal Space Program in a huge mansion, yeah. I'd probably be, yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of things that would happen. The world would be a different place if I knew what I knew now. But then again, maybe I'd just be too sensitive to change things. Like, if I don't know. Should I believe myself that I'm having an important effect on people and teaching people things? You know, if I go back in time and change it, then would that suddenly mean that these people aren't being inspired to do aerospace and stuff? Am I suddenly, you know, damaging things in other ways? This is a very nice table. It was a table that we bought on a date, right? Me and my wife, we were going to the movies and we stopped at a furniture store and we're like, honey, we have to have this table. This is such a good table. It is thick, it is solid. Oh, the quality of the wood is marvelous. Oh. Yeah, let me tell you. Yeah, we were going to see a movie, and we ended up buying a table. That is how amazing it is. It's I can't remember what it is. It's not simply oak. We have plenty of oaks around here, but no, this is not one of them. Being a table salesman, well, I can't tell you where you would buy it. I know that the place we bought it was a place called Therapy, which was a bit of an oddball furniture store. My favourite comedians, well, Billy Connolly obviously is very much a favourite comedian of mine for historic reasons. I really liked Stephen Wright as well. You maybe don't remember. I was a big fan of that. John Cleese, John Cleese, definitely one of my favorites. But I you know, like good stand-up is really hard. I actually like when Robin Ince and Brian Cox really get going. There we go. We got both the fins on there. Oh, look at that. My goodness, this is so good looking. I'm gonna have to find a spot for it. My second season of For All Mankind, I mostly enjoyed it. There was a few moments where I'm like, I didn't need that to happen. And yes, you know, the finale, the way it turned out, I think I would have played things differently. Just mostly because I understand the physics now and the biology. And I'm like, I would have made that scene longer, given that you could probably get away with the duct tape being giving more protection than it actually gave in the show. But yeah, I understand that they need characters around in that series, and I am looking forward to season 3. Wait a second, these are 3s rather than 4s. President Biden, how much time do you have? Oh, well, let me, listen. He's managed to not make me despair. No need to apologize and be ashamed. Unlike last one. Yeah. So this goes out this way. Okay. So we've got this. Okay, so now we got a place. Oh, I see what we've got here. So we're going to do an 8, and then a 1. This is going to be making the tail fin, I suspect, or starting the tail fin. The helicopter has solar panels. Yeah, so actually, Jake Rosendahl, if you listen, the main problem they have with keeping the helicopter flying is that the motors overheat very quickly. Like the temperature in the motors rises by about 1 degree centigrade every second of operation. They very quickly will hit their thermal limits. And that is what they're doing there. Love how the Scots, no need to apologise, moving on. Yeah, pretty much, yes. That's about it. Okay. Everyone awake always asks, what about this, Scott? No one ever asks why is... Oh, man. There we go, along here. Okay. Still not bad for the first prototype of a helicopter on Mars, given the almost non-existent atmosphere. Did I miss this super chat? Oh yeah, still helping about EVE Online. That is so special. Let me tell you, EVE Online is a very special. Is bless you an American thing? No, I had heard bless you when I was in Scotland, so it's not purely American. Will SN15 stick the landing? I'm giving it a 75% chance, but I could be wrong. You know, I have no insider knowledge. I think they might have solved some of the problems with the Raptors, but the great thing is if I say 75%, then, you know, I'm good either way, truthfully, right? Oh, wait a second. No, it's this one. Okay, flip it over and this. There we go. That's what I was at an hour ago. I have not had any more information at this time that would make me change my opinion. But if somebody happens to have some great internal details on what SpaceX has actually been doing, then good for you. Okay, I'm missing a piece here. Again. Oh, here it is. No, it's this piece. This is not missing a piece. I'm just not finding a piece. I'm misinterpreting a piece. There's stuff here. There we go. This, and this. You're really distracted by chat and questions. I did this on Twitch the other day, and it took 2.5 hours, way to grind it. I also had no viewers. Well, yes. I just, I think part of it is just interacting with people, to be honest. Like, I'm not racing to complete this by any means. So I think that is part of the tail plane that I'm working on. I'll probably duplicate. Oh, wait a second. Okay, now we're going to flip around and do the opposite side, I guess. So we start with this one. And again, some leading edges. I missed a $4.99 super chat earlier. Which one? Oh my goodness, did I? It's really hard to keep up with all the super chats. Which one did I miss? Oh man, now scrolling back, I'm like, I don't know which one. Oh, and my scrolling is broken. I'm maxed out with the scroll. Is Lego legitimately made for adults? It's made for anybody that wants to play with Lego. And adults can play with Lego if they like. There's nothing wrong with it. Adults can also play video games if they like. Adults can also build themselves fursuits if they want. Not that I do that, but if you want to build yourself a costume to play Spaceman, you can totally do that, right? You don't need to explain yourself to anybody. You just have to make sure that whatever you do it for love, and you're not doing it because to be an a-hole. Like, let's be clear. No a-holes. So how do we do this? Do we lock them together, I guess. So this is the split tail rudder, like opens up like that maybe. And this goes in here, like this. So I guess this goes like this. Man, harder than I expected. There we go. Get that in there. Get this in there. Come on. Go in, you bugger. You. Thank you. It doesn't look like it's moving very much. It's backwards. I've done something wrong. Okay, come back out. If you wanted to do something in planetary geology, where would you get a job? You pretty much have to get a job at one of the universities, like, that do that kind of thing. There's university system is where you're going to get a lot of these really technical jobs. Having said that, if you're still working at an undergraduate level, you can. Okay, wait a sec. Yeah, sorry, I got to turn this around. You know, you can actually demonstrate like your aptitude by working on publicly available data, and that will get you a lot. Like people that are applying for positions to work in these sort of departments, if you've got a body that shows that you sort of downloaded data and worked on it for giggles, then that is going to count for a lot when they're trying to decide who to give funding to, like at the universities, or who to hire. You just order this kit and haven't built Lego in over 20 years. I gotta get this thing on here, and I actually have to run and do a bit of a bio break, because this beer is filling in. This is the hardest bit. Do you think other planets can terraform our planet? I don't know. May the 4th be with you. That is very timely, and I have made a mistake here. I'm really going to need this bio break. What is going wrong here? This goes in. I'm coming back in a second. Give me a second. Okay. Right, we're gonna do this again. Okay. Whew. Bio break. That's the term that I used. It is an expression that is used. You know what? I think I've got this backwards. Hold on. I've got to take these off. No wonder this isn't working. I've got it backwards. Would you pick to ride on the shuttle? I'd fly on the shuttle over the Dragon. I'll just say that. Like, shuttle is more dangerous, but it's more fun. Like, seriously, there's so much cool stuff about the shuttle. Okay, so I have this. This should go down here. That means this needs to go like that. And then this needs to go this way. Okay, this is it. This is why it's not coming together. It's because I'm a numpty that can't read Lego instructions, which is probably why I shouldn't be doing engineering. What programming language do you can? What do you mean do I can? What do I use? Oh, this is so much more easy. Hallelujah. Oh, God, there it is. So now we've got the split tailplane here. It's not quite right, but one of the things about the space shuttle, you may or may not know, was that the rudder, right? It could turn like a rudder, but it could also split and act like an air brake, except when I do it, this thing pops out. So you will see this as it's landing, it pops out the thing like that. And astronauts that were flying it would notice that as it comes in to do the flare, you had to be careful because its nose would tend to rise because the air brake would deploy. And if you weren't, it was quite possible for you to actually make a mistake in the simulator. Thoughts on 3D printing Lego bricks? Good luck with it because they spend a lot of money building these nodes to make them, these molds, sorry, so that they can make them work. I have my 3D printer does ABS, but I would never, I don't think I could get anywhere close to doing the what I need for 3D printing, the quality that's needed. This seems a bit loose. I'm wondering if I've got it right. I guess it has the right level of motion, so yeah, okay. I'm convinced. Look, wait, and there's no spare pieces in this case. Wow, this one actually got it right. So now, hold on, we probably just put this on the back here. Look at this. Uh-oh. Gentle. Tailplane. Okay, so now this is bag 17, bag 16. There's quite a lot in this. What do we need this many pieces for now? We've got everything except for the cockpit, right? Yeah, exactly. There's like the precision that Lego does with its piece design is actually pretty amazing. So wait a second. There's a few super chats that I'm just got to check on. 3D printing Lego blocks. Are they truly Elevons if they can only roll? My older shuttle adventure could both manually. It's true. These ones, well, you know, they have two-dimensional control here. You get an interview in Boca Chica on Thursday. Actually, you have 3D because there's a body flap in here, although, you know. So you're going to work in the tank yard. But is this as a, what's your skill set? I'm really curious. Admin astronaut. Any ideas on how Starship will perform propellant transfer in orbit? Once it gets going, oh yeah, I forgot, we have to have these pods here. That's what we're building, the OMS pods. Okay, OMS pods should be super easy, right? Who am I fooling? Oh, I'm so glad that I know where this is going now. The OM pods were actually quite substantial. I mean, look, good job getting to SpaceX. You know, you realize that it's going to be hard work. SpaceX have high requirements, like no slacking. So, if you are up for the work, then I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, the starships will do the whole like butt sex thing in orbit, and then they will have to carefully blow their thrusters so that they stay docked in orbit and transfer propellant. Now, once they start transferring propellant, the inertia of the propellant should be enough to actually keep them in contact. Should be. But it's very, very small. I don't think I could work at an Elon company. Like, I used to work at startups. I'll say that. And I used to swear I would never stop working at startups, but then I worked at a non-startup and I was like, oh, wow, actual resources. This is kind of nice. But then, of course, you know, you then have the other side of, oh, actually having to document stuff all the time. Welding is a good job for a welder. Better than, you know, flying or other things. Wait a second. Maritime launch services launching Ukrainian rockets on the east coast of Canada. I haven't, I mean, okay, so I don't know what their plan is, but definitely I would say that it would be nice for Ukraine to get back into the launch business. They have a lot of really smart, a lot of good history there. And I've known a lot of Ukrainian entrepreneurs that are getting involved in small launch services. So, seems like a reasonable thing for them to do. That is a Hubble right here. That is the Hubble Space Telescope. And it fits inside this bay. What music genres am I into? Everything. By the way, admin astronaut says 28 years a roughneck. And I'm guessing that means somebody that knows how to operate gas and oil pipelines and plumbing. And as far as I can tell, they need a few people in Boca Chica who can actually do that stuff. Order of operations is everything. They've lost entire rockets because they made mistakes. You know that Chuck Yeager, he was one of the reasons he was picked for the X-1 was because of his background apparently in, like, his dad did oil work or something, so he knew a decent amount about plumbing and valves and things like that are important when you're dealing with rocket engines. Trajan Parks is saying, are there any private companies working on next generation spacesuits? I only ever recall NASA's presentation of their project. So, the thing is, both of those are sort of outsourced. There's Oceaneering has a spacesuit as one, I believe. But Kathy Lueders recently announced that there was some change to the acquisition process, which might allow for more acquisition of these things. But I wasn't really clear. I need to go and look at what they're actually saying. It's not clear whether the XMU that they showed off is gonna disappear or if they're gonna do something else. Okay, so that goes like that, and then we have two of these things. This seems like odd. Why would you do that? Every time Starship Orbital refuels, Clint Mansell's Summer Overture plays. There you go. Okay, so we're going to put this here. Clint Mansell is amazing. What's the dumbest company name attached to rocketry? Like, as in dumb company or just a dumb name? Because I don't want to imply that a company with a dumb name is necessarily a dumb company. Yeah, that's a hard one. Oh man, that's a good. Oh man, I can't see nasty things about a lot of these companies. I mean, I'm gonna say X-Pace in China. It's a pretty dumb name, right? Like it's painful in that way. Okay, so we're building the Ohms pod out, like a little bit of curvature on it. What's the biggest long-term hurdle to the progression of space exploration? Education's politics. It's very hard for politicians to explain, say nice things about it. And when they do, it's inevitably so that they can get money for their state. Like, it's very hard to make a profit in space. That's basic, sort of fundamental thing that you just have to deal with. So hold on, I gotta flip this over. I missed a bit here. Okay, and then this, and then this. Look, there's a lot of things that could do to make rocketry more appealing to politics, but the truth is that it's a very expensive thing, and there's not really any direct profits to be had, except for, like, Starlink might actually be a genuinely well-placed thing that actually makes profit. But if you remember, like, Iridium tried to provide worldwide telephone service and they totally flubbed it, and the only reason those satellites remained in orbit is because the US military basically, came up with a bunch of money to help them stay in business. Do you have a PPL? I do not. So here's the thing. Every time I want to do it, I end up getting a distraction. I wanted to do a thing where I would basically get in a simulator with zero actual pilot's experience and show just how useless my video game background was. And, well, wait a second. Oh yeah, and then, hold on. That's wrong. Oh no, wait, that's right. If flipping around and I wasn't sure. Yeah, and so I had that all set up, and then I kind of messed up my schedule and I couldn't get it, and then literally my situation changed, and it suddenly became much harder, and I totally missed out on an opportunity to do this. And then of course COVID hit. But I should really get around to doing it. I have actually sat at the controls of a plane and flown it, and basically the other person that was there, the pilot, was just like kept on saying, "Why? You look at your instruments way too much, but you're very good at keeping altitude." Like, you're way better than anyone else at keeping the correct altitude, but you've got to actually look outside the cockpit rather than this. Have I listened to Cardiacs? No, I don't know. I don't think so. I've listened to a lot of different music from a lot of different people. I'll say that. But I like a lot of electronic music, to be honest. Okay, so we're now going to put on one of these things. So this goes in here. This is the Ohms pod. This is the AJ10 engine. There we go. This is my Ohms pod. These things are like really heavy. They make up a lot of the mass of the space shuttle because they contain a lot of propellant. Wait, what time is it for you, Scott Manley? By the way, so maybe Duende is asking about Cardiacs. I don't remember listening to them, so I'm gonna have to say no, but maybe it will, something will jump out. Regardless, I tend to listen to everything that I can. I love, I don't know, I just love the internet because it keeps on bringing me new options for new music. How many extra pieces will you have done? This is how many I've got left. Drinking coffee, wow. Have you seen the 2000 Kinex ISS model? Oh wow, that's interesting. I haven't seen the Kinex model. What is going on here? Oh wait, I see what I gotta do. I gotta do one backwards and one forwards. This one and this one. Oh, I think this is getting finished today. It's like almost midnight and I've got one more bag to do. Like, it's gonna happen. It's here. It's going forwards. We are committed. We are committed. I just hope I don't miss... the road closure isn't until the afternoon, right? Yeah, I'd love to do stuff about future Mars orbiters and things like that. The neat thing is that LEGO appreciate and value very quickly. Let me tell you, I missed out on the Ulysses orbiter by a few minutes, and those were immediately on eBay selling at ridiculous prices, so I'm kind of really disappointed. Sometimes artificial scarcity is not nice if you're on the wrong end of it. So this is the little RCS things. That's what these are. These are the bits that stick out the bag. So I guess... No, wait a second. Gotta figure out which way this points. Oh, hold on. There's still bits to be added here. That's how that goes. So we take 3 of these and 3 of these. You're only 13 and you love space and SpaceX. You're just waiting on the SN15 launch today. Yes, I am as well. I actually will probably have a major meeting. I actually have some meetings planned tomorrow that I've got to attend. So, like, if it happens during that, it's going to be a problem, let me tell you. Oh, the ultimate creator version of the A-Wing is pretty good. I will have to look for that. Okay, so we have this. I think it goes this way. There we go. Little RCS cluster. Do these get... Oh, yes, I'm supposed to put RCS on this. Look at all these tiny little RCS thrusters. I sort of love the detail that went into this piece with all the different thrusters pointing in different directions. So now, that's the way this should go. Man. And then hopefully this attaches onto the thing. How did China accidentally shoot their booster into orbit? It wasn't an accident. It was designed to go into orbit. Da da da, da da da, da da da. There we go. Look at the RCS. Look at all those tiny engines. Is that not absolutely beautiful? Oh my gosh. The clutch power on that thing is... Did I make the Armageddon shuttle? No, this is the regular space shuttle. Okay, so I gotta make another one of these. Whew. Did I like the Armageddon shuttle? I like Armageddon. I'll tell you what. Armageddon is the least accurate movie ever, and I love it. It's not actually the least accurate movie. But listen, it borrows from some real things and doesn't actually care about reality. Thoughts on Buran? Well, Buran's a pretty cool vehicle, but I think it's a shame that it never really got developed. It did have many, many problems though. The SSMEs, they are angled upwards. Yeah, they're angled. They're angled upwards somewhat, right? They're probably not. I don't know if they have enough angle. Let's see. American components, Russian components, all made in Taiwan. Yes. Which is totally not true, but never mind. No, there's so much I like about the movie Armageddon. It's bad and it's good, and it has a lot of fun actors in it. Can you name any characters from the astronauts on for Deep Impact? Right? I mean, I'm 100% behind Armageddon. So Deep Impact, basically, it has like all these different stories that are supposed to be going on. Because it's a worldwide thing, right? You're not trying to tell a story about one person. The problem is, you don't really care about half the stories in that movie. It's like, oh, bring us back to the astronauts in space. I don't care about this one. I might need to get some more water. I might need to switch to water because that's going to keep me up. Where do you get the pieces? Oh, for my Nalka mod, I think I just had a bunch of random pieces sitting around, and I sort of threw them together. So they probably come from a bunch of like old sets that Orion had. Like that's basically how it works. Okay, once again, back with the incredible Ram Animal, Public Enemy #1. Oh, God, sorry, every time I say once again, I cannot help but break into Public Enemy. Public Enemy is pretty, I'm missing a piece. God, I hope I didn't put it in there. This is where I'm like, wait, did I make a mistake? Hold on, I gotta pull this off for a second. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot, now I'm really getting into trouble. Oh, no! No! Oh, gosh. I'm destroying my shuttle. Oh, save water, drink beer. Yes, here it is. Okay. Hold on. Message retracted by Nick S. Uh-oh. Could you shed more light on those hardy Soyuz A, B, and V, also the APOS space? I do want to talk about the Salyut. That's what I want to talk about. So hold on. What is under this thing here? Sorry, I'm sort of like stuck. Oh yeah, this actually makes sense. Okay, so this goes in here. This goes here. Damn it. So what happens when you accidentally assemble things in the wrong order because you're like reading out messages from wonderful people out there? What happened on Twitch? Nothing happened on Twitch. What do you mean? Scott, the Lego model has fuel cells. It does? Oh, I gotta look. I guess it does have the fuel cells. Yeah, that would make sense. Although, you know, you can't really see those. Okay, so I think... Yeah, it is. Damn it. Okay, so see, here's the thing. I went and made a mistake. I should have had these pieces in here. So I gotta take my ohms pod apart so I can get... And it's just like the worst piece for me to take. You know what? I can take it off this way. Okay, hold on. You're very excited for Naka. I'm excited for Naka. It has been a long time coming. I remember doing a video talking about how Naka was going to launch really soon a long time ago. And guess what? It didn't launch a long time ago. It just hung around, not launching, doing a very good impression of something that did not want to fly to space, did not want to go to space today. Okay. Oh, here, this goes like this. That's us. Okay. I think I've got it all again. And now this goes on here. Okay, problem solved. You're back in business. Ohms pods. And my take on the Blue Origin suit versus NASA is that it's basically a thing that you would do because you've got billions of dollars. Of course, if you don't do that, then you're not going to get anything. So everybody was going to protest that deal. And it might be involved with some lobbying and some political angles, and it might have some aims to make, you know, things move, money move. Hold on. That's one of the ohms pods. Here we go. Do I still play EVE Online? Not really. I mean, I still keep up with EVE Online, but I don't play it because I just don't have the time to devote to play the game at the level I would like. And a lot of the game has changed. I do keep like up on all the stories. I will do a video about future. I got a video to do on a bunch of different things. Put it that way. But someone's asking for a video about the next Mars orbiter, Nemo, and I will have to get around to doing that. I don't get why this is using these 3-stud ones when you could have just like a 3 by whatever. These are bases. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, this Have you played? I haven't played Cyberpunk 2077. I haven't had the spare time or energy for that kind of devotion. People were asking about will I get around to Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and yeah, that's another thing. The great thing about these is that if I go for a year and I haven't quite got around to doing it, I can end up just watching a video of somebody else playing it and get most of the important experience. Orion was originally going to launch to the ISS, but that plan disappeared when Constellation was shut down in favor of doing like an actual in favor of doing commercial operations. Like commercial operations were much more flexible and cheaper in the end, so it's not a surprise that's what won. Hey Orion, aren't you supposed to be sleeping? No, I'm not supposed to be sleeping. Hey, pour me a glass of water, please. Okay, on here. Do I still use my I don't use my VR headset. My problem with my VR headset is that I don't really have room to do VR things in my tiny studio. And I worry about punching something that's valuable, like, you know, priceless pieces of hardware. I don't know if I would be the kind of person to buy the SRB kit. I think that's a lot of building. I really like the launch umbilical tower. I've got an RTX 3070, that's what I've got. Trying to get a PlayStation. Why is Soyuz launched by Arianespace? Because Ariane had a very big rocket in the Ariane 5, and it had a very small rocket in the Vega, and they didn't really have a medium-sized rocket, and so that's what Soyuz represents. It's a mid-sized launcher. And so they licensed it to launch from Kourou in South America. Do you do any flying? No. I should really do that. Oh, crap. Wait, is there... I would have thought there would be some other stuff. Okay, never mind. Let's do that. Anybody, anything else you want to accomplish professionally? I want to write a book. I want to write a book. I've got a bunch of different books I'd like to write. It just seems like I don't know. I like writing, but most of my writing I actually do, I ad-lib. Most of my scripts I actually ad-lib. Could you add a drogue to the shuttle for landing? Sure you could. Oh, here's me, after all that trouble, forgetting to actually put the brick in that I had to recover. Fly Safe, the memoirs of an internet rocket scientist, yeah. Cheers, there should be a Polyus Lego set. Wow, that would be an interesting choice. A satellite which was designed for, you know, militarizing space and never actually made it into space. Yes, OMS is exactly that. It's an orbital maneuvering system. It contains the AJ-10 engines, which would let them perform all the maneuvers in space. It had about 300 meters per second of delta V overall. There we go. What do I think the next... I don't know what the next big space Lego set will be, but it would be nice to have it be something... you know what? I don't think they've made a really good quality lunar rover. I would like to see a lunar rover, but I would also like to see a collection of space probes. You know, there's a bunch of I at least saw a kit, not a kit, an imaginary thing. What's the word? I saw a concept on one of their things, which was a set of space probes, and I would like that. Which of the current one? I like the ISS actually. I really do. But I think this is absolute. I'm going to say I haven't finished this, but this is really fantastic on so many levels. I'm just disappointed that there was so much aggro in trying to get it. I think a James Webb set would take forever. Ha! I wouldn't fancy the time it took to get a James Webb Lego set developed. Ariane used to be the poster child for independent launches, yes. Well, Ariane was great for launching to geostationary orbit from, Ariane actually does better than anyone else if you're launching to geostationary orbit, with the exception of sea launch. And so satellite operators really liked them because their satellite would get to orbit and it would have more propellant left. The problem is that Ariane is just so big and it's not cheap anymore. And so you inevitably, inevitably end up with having to like fly with two spacecraft at the same time. And that works if they're both going to the same orbit, but it doesn't work so well if you want to fly to different orbits. So yeah, Ariane just basically has been outcompeted by SpaceX. That's the thing. Will I talk about ISRO? I've been trying to, let me tell you. Why does the US not send rovers to the moon? Good question. They haven't sent rovers to the moon because they sent rovers to the moon in the 70s with astronauts driving them. So the US hasn't landed anything on the moon softly for a very long time. May the 4th be with you indeed. Okay, so this finally, this is where I gotta be careful, make sure everything's the right way around again. Okay, Ohms pod complete. Am I missing anything? I've got an extra thing here. That what makes me worry. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? Because this seems like a big piece to be missing. I don't know what I'm missing here. I'm gonna have to flip backwards. Been the 4th for 9 hours already in Europe. Yes, I know. Wait a second. Did I miss that piece? I did. I missed this piece here. Okay, that's where that goes. Problem solved. Back in the game. It's like a totally hidden piece. Hi Scott, what do you think about the future of non-chemical propulsion system? Do we think we'll see fission or fusion? I think we might see a fission drive soon. We'll see fusion as soon as we make fusion work on Earth, right? If we can make it work on Earth, we can definitely figure out how to make it work in space. Any kind of multiplication factor definitely helps. There we go. Look at the butt on that. And so the last bag comes forth and it says, "Hi, I have pieces of the cockpit," which is apparently from a word in naval terms and nothing to do with genitals. Very important you know that, right? This seems a big piece to be missing. Do I like Stargate SG-1? You would think that I would, but I've never actually had much chance to watch Stargate, but I've talked to their science advisor, and she's a very nice person. She has a lot of fun things to say And honestly, that seems like a great job. I would totally be the science advisor for any show that would have me. Nope, wrong way. So we're building the cockpit. Do you think that LEO infrastructure outside of space stations can exist in the near to mid future? I think that any LEO structure has to be space stations because it's an LEO. So if you're talking about space stations that do something other than have people, I think the interesting things in space that wouldn't, I'm trying to think, like obviously we have observation satellites, like solar power is something that has to be up in geostationary range, so I don't think that would count as LEO. Yeah, I don't know what might come up there, but I could see fuel depots. Fuel depots is something that is actually going to happen apparently. Nanoracks are going to be doing an experiment on a forthcoming, I think it's a forthcoming Falcon 9, where they're going to like demonstrate the ability. Oh, they want to demonstrate wet workshop capability. That's what I saw. There's someone else that's got the is hoping to demonstrate refueling the fuel depots, but I think their grant covers RP1 and liquid oxygen, which kind of limits people that can use it to SpaceX and Rocket Lab. Need your knowledge to see whether hot dog is a sandwich. I can confirm that on Apollo 13 in the transcripts that Jim Lovell said that he accidentally put mustard on his hot dog sandwich. Therefore, according to a NASA astronaut, it is a sandwich. See? Science. You just got to know who to ask. Also, Mission Control radioed back up saying, we think that's a breach of protocol because the hot dogs are supposed to be paired with mustard, not ketchup. Well, here's the thing. It was a space hot dog. So maybe it's in space, hot dogs are sandwiches. Mark Zumura. Scott, thanks for all you do. What are your thoughts on MHD electrical propulsion using a fusion power source Lorentz effect? Can this be taken, so it could not be taken to expanse levels, but you can certainly get an amplification factor in there. It just requires, the tech to be developed. Like right now, you can actually put in, you can have like something like a fusor, and what that does is it does release more energy than you put in, but not enough to really make it worthwhile. But if you can multiply, get more power out, then you can start to get into the realm where it's more efficient than a simple electrical propulsion system. So that could certainly happen. Jolly Black Santa is asking, will orbital shipyards ever be a feasible thing? And that's a good question. The problem, I guess, with orbital shipyards is, hold on, this is like this. The problem with orbital shipyards is mostly that they have a very limited range of orbits. So if you're doing a shipyard, it's really, oh, look at that. So look at how they put that in there. This is very nice. So now, I guess we put the astronaut seats in. We don't have any astronauts that are this size. Nuclear-powered shuttle, let me tell you, if there was a nuclear-powered shuttle, I wouldn't go on EVA near it. Should SpaceX develop a larger, what? Oh, I missed something here. Thoughts on Kessler syndrome? It's not inevitable like many people say. There we go. So this goes slightly off the back. This is going so well. Do you think SpaceX will configure their engines in space since Starship needs sea-level Raptors to land? Configure their engines for space? I mean, yeah, boy. Oh, Bad Batch is live? Hey, Tell him I said hi. I will catch up with the Bad Batch later, but yes, may the 4th be with you. And make sure you watch my little Twitter video regarding SN15 if you're into the whole Star Wars Day thing. Okay, so we're almost done here. We're so close. And look, they gave us a printed piece for this. Thank you. Should SpaceX develop a larger version of the Raptor for Super Heavy? They are developing a higher boost version. People have seen a higher boost version of the Raptor on test stands, and it looks like it doesn't have the gimbal. So it probably is set up in a slightly different way. It probably gets more thrust. Electronic music history video. When? Oh gosh, there's a lot to be said about that. Okay, so hold on. Oh yeah, this is the this is the hard. This one seems to be hard to get in. Aha! There we go. So this goes in like this. Oh yes! So now I have to put the cockpit into the space shuttle. Put the cockpit into the shuttle. Okay, so this goes in here. So this just sits in, right? I guess I'll hold this together very carefully. So it goes in so that you can actually take it out. I think I would fix this so it was actually a way to get down. And then this sits on here and is held in place. We're so close. Now what's the last thing we got to do here? I think this is the stand that puts the Hubble in the cargo bay maybe. Now Super Heavy won't require a heat shield similar to the Falcon 9. I mean, it'll need to be fairly robust, but it's not going to have a heat shield. Okay, this. So excited for May the 4th. May the 4th is my day with my Star Wars. Okay. And then we got to put a couple of little holdy bits on here. The claw. So I don't know what altitude they will separate at, but it'll be fairly high up. It'll be consistent with, you know, how high that we see the Falcon 9 separating from its first stage. Ironic that Falcon, I don't know if ironic is not the right word. It is a pleasant coincidence, which is not the same as irony. You know what irony really is? Uh-oh. It looked like we had another glitch there. I hope this internet thing is still working. Okay. We apparently may have lost this. Are we still there? Let's just restore it just to see what's going on. What are my thoughts on Vulcan? Oh my goodness. Are we still live? Because we're almost done with this shuttle. I need to make sure that we're almost done. Okay, what? I've just got to finish this. This is just taking too long. My internet just seems to have decided to give up or something. Oh, there's another one of these. This, and this. Is anybody there? I'm not seeing any chat. Seems to be some problem with my internet. So I can't see what's going on if anybody's saying things. So I'm just going to finish this. We're so close. We are so close. Yeah, my Wi-Fi seems to be misbehaving. Okay, so Safari can't find the server. That is great. Internet is gone. You know what? Maybe I'm going to switch back to cellular data. Okay, let's see. You can still see my stream fine. Great, because there's no chat coming through. I don't know, my laptop has stopped working, but we are so close to the end. We are so close to the end that we have to just power through and finish this. It will be a grand and glorious victory. I've actually worked up a sweat. Whew, let me tell you. Let me tell you. So these go on the end here. These are little holdy thingies. Oh, you know what? These are supposed to be the folded down, these are supposed to be the rolled down panels. That's what this is. What? Are these going here? What? Okay, so there's some question. Let's get this on the stand, right? So first of all, final version. This is the final shuttle, right? It is just stunning bit of work. And yes, you may have not seen this yesterday, or you might have seen this yesterday or previously, but if you push in the body flap, the landing gear comes out, and you can in fact roll it around on its wheels, right? You can push these away, of course, and they spring back into position, which is nice. Now, the stand has a couple of locking points here. So you put these in, bang, and you have this sitting on a stand. Very nice. Opens up. We got Space Shuttle with its docking adapters and everything in here. Now, if I want to display this, how does this work? It goes. It's showing me something about taking these pieces out. So that's what I'm wondering about. So there's like a couple of. Yeah, I'm just gonna try this. So, wait, oh, is this is upside? Okay, so now if I want to show the shuttle in the bay, I take these off. This is the stand, right? So these little handles go in here, like that, and you take off the panels. And you have them folded up, the folded up panels, because of course these are roll-out solar arrays. This doesn't quite work for me here. And then this shuts down. So this is us like deploying it. The only thing is we don't have an astronaut-sized thing. Now, this then goes into, I guess this has to go like that? Doesn't seem right. Wait a second. Oh, I wonder, yeah, if you take this out, I thought that this was the instrument thing, but if you take this out, it slots into here, and then this slots in, and it just locks in place. Oh, so nice. So then you can have the thing like working on the robot arm. So you can come up with a way to have it like being held in place by the arm. Ta-da! Space shuttle working in orbit with the Hubble Space Telescope. Whew. Man, I wish I can't see anything that you guys are saying now. I don't know what's going wrong. Like, something is wrong with this. I could try switching over. That probably wouldn't work. But I'm very happy with this design in so many ways. I like the fact that the fins work, the flaps work, that we have the split tailplane. We have all the reaction control thrusters, 2-level deck, flight deck. We have Hubble Space Telescope, and we have an undeployed version as well. What is not to like here, other than it took a long time to do it? And of course, we also have some nice little, descriptions for what these things are. Space Shuttle Discovery, that's right. And the Hubble Space Telescope. And I'm still not connected to the internet. So you could be throwing adulation my way. Or not. But this Lego set for me is, at this point, is pretty much the Snyderverse of space Lego sets. Because boy, it took a really long time and I had to split it into many chapters to get through it. But I am happy with the fidelity that it offers. So thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you all again sometime, and hope that I can actually get to see what you're saying right now, because I don't doubt that it's all sort of like, thank God that's over. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.